Okay, good morning. We'll call the meeting to order. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Our dear Heavenly Father, once again, we thank you for this great day you provided for us. Thank you for all you do for us day in and day out, dear Lord. We ask you to be with us today, guide us, give us wisdom in all the decisions we make, dear Lord. Thank you again for who you are and what you do for us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you for that, Mr. Lim Cool. Yes, hope everybody had a nice Father's Day weekend. Trust that you did. We'll jump right into business here. The first item on the agenda is county personnel and public comment. And I'm looking around. I don't see anybody here, but if you want to come down, have something to tell us, we'll make time for you. So we will just move right on. The first item on the agenda is the minutes from the June 9th meeting. Are there any additions or corrections?
I move we approve the 6/9/2025 minutes.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 it. Aye.
Okay, motion carried. Minutes are approved. We'll move on to item number 2, which is the payroll from June 11th. Any questions, comments with the payroll?
We approve the 6/11/2025 payroll.
Sir, it's been moved. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 All right, motion carried. That is approved. Next is the occupational license. Morning. This is for the White Cloud Casino.
We approve the occupational license for the White Cloud Casino license number 2025-03.
Okay, it's been moved to approve. Is there a second?
It's been approved by the township. Did you have that?
But can we approve it and then send it to Ben?
They have some dates, but they have to know.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, motion carried, and we'll send that on to Irving Township. And if you're listening, Irving Clerk,
They already have.
they have it. They already have it. So if you're listening, Irving Clerk, sign the papers that you already have.
If you want to pass it, look.
Okay. Now item number 4 is a property use agreement. I believe this is the Lions Club. We have a busy computer here today. Takes me a second to find. I'll just look at it. Are we looking at this one? No, John, right? Okay. Any questions or comments on the Hiawatha Lions Club using the courthouse lawn for a barbecue on the 21st of June?
English, we approve the
Okay.
property use agreement.
Sorry. Motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, so we move to second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carried. Connie, do you wanna, we could probably sneak you in if we'll take a few minutes. Or is that all right? Or do we need to wait?
Yeah, since it's listed on.
Okay, we'll wait. Sorry, I didn't mean to tease you, but we'll wait. But Tammy, what do you have for us?
I don't know if we can. I've had a request to close a road. This was Sturton's. For some reason, the Mission Township called about closing this, I guess.
This is on the south side of Woodland. This is where Darren Sturton, his new house.
Okay.
is.
It's 100th Street down here.
Right.
And this, as you can see, doesn't go all the way through. This is just a turnaround for his trucks, and he said they put this. And I guess the township only has maintained from here to here. I suppose with gravel or whatever.
Mhm.
Because this is not paved, it's not chipped.
Right.
And they wanna know if they can close that, which. I'm assuming this comes from Darren because he was upset. He had people that wanted to bore into this to put. It wasn't Brightspeed. You approved a permit back in May for Brightspeed to come in. And Darren said he approved them to do this, but they were wanting to come, I believe, up here beside his house. Somebody was. So Mission Township called and asked what we could do about closing this road or vacating or however you word it.
If we close a road though, will that stop the gas line?
I don't believe so. I don't think that. Is that what it is, a gas line?
Well, I just read gas line right there.
Oh.
I didn't. know
No,
if that's-
this, I think that, oh, they're saying that's where the gas. Show up.
Okay. Well, it's not a through road. It's just essentially a driveway to get to Sturton Trucking.
So does the township want to close it or Sturton's want to close it?
Darren called the township and after he had come into my office to see what he could do about. Stopping them from boring in this,
In the roadway?
yes. Because he said this is what he had approved,
That's what we approved.
you approved.
Yeah.
And he had approved it because
Okay.
it's his property. Them to go around the outside, but they wanted to come up through the middle. I don't know if it was here or somewhere into the roadway. It wasn't this permit, it wasn't Bryce,
Or
But it
It's
was-
a different company,
yes.
another fiber optic deal.
Yes, another fiber optic.
So did they come up to us with a? permit?
No,
They start with that, or
well,
they give us a permit so we know what we're trying to go with it.
I don't know if they ever do they?
Most of them do, if they're going to go on right of ways.
Or under the road. They went under the road, I think. Have to come.
Statute is.
So yes, I mean, you have the authority to vacate the road, and so there are some notice provisions of that. Yeah, application notice and notice. So, I think the criteria is, I mean, you can do it on petition, but you can do it on your own, motion. If you determine it's not a public utility by reason of neglect, non-use, or inconvenience, or from other cause. That's become practically impassable. And the necessity of the road as a public utility does not justify the expenditure of necessary funds to repair such road, so. Based on what's being described, it would fit that criteria. So,
And you're getting the revising statute.
no, it's just, that's not statute, 68-102.
68-102.
That's the statute.
Okay.
And Nikki and I looked back and found some things.
Yeah, so we would want to have, usually you'll have like, Hazelnut Road from 240th to 239th or whatever, I mean, you would describe what it is and then it would be, we would lay out notice, the publication of that, and then, set it for, you all make a decision once we have that publication.
And we found somewhere that there had been a public hearing in the past. Do you have to have that?
Well, so, yeah, based on. County clerk give notice of the action, the publication, and then send certified mail to each owner adjoining the road. We'll set forth description of the road proposed to be laid out or vacated. And then, any person may make written application to the county. If they feel damages, to be assessed because of that action. That's not required, and then, set, will be considered on August 2nd at 8:15 in front of the county commission. You just set the date that would be considered. I don't know if it'd be a public forum, it could be a forum up here. That's when people could come and state they don't think it's a good idea. So then the commission would make it.
Darren owns the middle of the road to here, and then Dale and Ruth would own
Right.
right
Is
there.
this, here?
Huh?
Oh, I wasn't sure.
Huh?
You just
They're
said-
adjoining land, that's who theirs, so they're actually one of the other one requesting for the. Down, you have anybody coming in yet?
You said they don't?
That's, yeah.
Okay,
So,
well, because we'll have to, I didn't know what it's at, so.
so if they don't want it to go under, the deal is they wanna go under the road, so we could just say with, they can't have permission to go under the road, couldn't we? Keep the road open?
What's that?
Couldn't we just refuse them permission to go under the road?
They're not asking. Nobody's asked to go under that. This is an old permit, well, from this year, but, and they were just wanting to go
Okay,
around.
so this new company wants to go under the road.
They went to Darren. And Darren came to me, he went upstairs and then they sent him to me.
But if they don't have a permit, can't we just say no?
And Darren was saying that the railroad used to come up here.
Yeah, right there. The north is an angle, the north line is an angle, little railroad bed.
Just not right.
Yeah, exactly. That's the old shops
And this is actually a turnaround, I believe,
For
the
their-
way he was describing.
for their truck and trailer. So Longspur, I'm guilty of not really paying much attention because I've always assumed that was just their drive. But when you look, I mean, that's a county road that's about 200 yards long, I think,
But it's
or a township road.
a township road and truthfully, I don't even have any record of when that was put in. I have no records on this road whatsoever.
Okay.
It's not even on my map of roads to have records for.
Okay.
But it goes up and ties in Hammersmith's property too, so the road does. Up in the very corner, like Hammersmith, so.
But it doesn't.
I don't
go
think it
through.
connects the bridge. It does.
It ties into their property if they ever.
Oh, I see what
If they ever said they wanted that road to continue on through for a business for them,
Well, whose property was that?
that's Hammersmith.
So they're still got their trailer parked on. By the map.
I'm just saying that it ties into the.
Yeah, but if the road doesn't go past here, then this is a private up there.
Well, we gotta see the appraisers off the show. It's possible it could still be listed as roads, since the baby. That whole part. Wherever it's like, we will have roads that are laid out in the 20s that are in the middle of the field, you can know the roads.
On the county's GIS system, it shows, it lists that.
Yeah, so, yeah, I mean, if it's not used and it doesn't justify.
That's just how people work.
Okay. So if it doesn't justify the, maintaining it, then that's something that the criteria in the statute for the laws to do, so. Just requires a notice, publication notice, so.
So if we want to,
I'd say, I don't think it's a. Necessity for this week from them.
No, no.
I'd say we could just have the appraiser. review it, and then we can have have it on the agenda, with a specific area that what we're looking at vacating, then I can work up a notice with the clerk's office to publish, and then it would just be set for you all to make a formal review. That, you have to give enough time for certified mailings to go out and input it, and then you have it all. I can work up a notice for maybe even send out then.
This- So that's gonna do all that. Looks to me like, we ought to just be able to say they can't bore under that road.
Well, it wouldn't be, I mean, we've already granted them. Whatever you said, we granted.
Well, that wasn't the corner of that road though, was
It
it?
sounds like it's a different company, doesn't it?
It's a different company.
Right. So,
They asked us,
No,
so that wouldn't be, we used to be vacating the road, and then it'd be a private issue between the landowners and them. Usually when you vacate the existing, it's subject to existing easements with facility maintenance, so if there's anything existing that would remain, that'd be up to the land. They wouldn't be the county's concern anymore.
So do you not, you have a problem with vacating the road?
well, if it's costing them dollars to publish all that stuff. And if the township's been maintaining it, looks like it'd be beneficial to them. To certain, yeah, but it looks like it'd be beneficial to certain to keep that open if they ever want, maybe they never use that drive,
This one,
yeah.
that's their main
That's
driveway
their
for their
driveway.
trucks.
Well, so then it looks like it'd be beneficial to them to keep, the township to keep it gravel.
I think, if I understand him correctly, they're maintaining this stretch of road themselves. The certain, but you understand it a different way.
Yeah, we could have them, I mean,
Yeah.
that's all part, but I'd have to clarify that.
Okay.
And then we can have it on, just say, technically, county commission would have authority to vacate township road just by statute, so. Main thing is it worth keeping and, neighboring landowners, in favor of it.
Okay,
If there's any possibility the county would need it, or the township would need it in the future, that's where you err on side of caution by not vacating, that doesn't sound like that would be the case from what I'm hearing, we can get some more information. Meantime, I can look up. This.
that sounds like a wise approach. We'll get a little more info, but thanks for putting all that together. We'll talk about it next week. You foresee contacting Darren, or you want one of us to do that? Okay,
I thought his number.
you got it? Yeah.
He left it for me.
Okay, okay.
Have him come in next week.
If he wants to, or we can just get some more information.
Yeah,
about-
because he could tell you more exactly about who's maintained.
Yeah,
He said he usually plows. But I don't know if the township has been putting rock
right.
to here. But I don't think Sturton's would have a problem with that because they put this in.
As I understood it, he thought the road was vacated years ago. And so they've maintained it. They've done everything from that intersection on that,
Okay.
because he thought it was behind, he thought they had it. And he was, when they found out, that according to the county, that they don't, he was a little surprised, so.
He was super nice.
Oh,
when he
yeah, no,
came.
he's fine, he's fine. If we don't want to rush into it, we want to do it the right way. So if we talk to him and put it on the agenda for next week, I mean, we can still, I think, take care of it.
Sure.
Anything else,
Glad
for us?
they can- I don't believe so.
No?
The guys are getting ready to move to District 3. They think they'll be done in District 2 this morning.
Yeah, they're getting after it.
And then they're gonna move all the equipment this afternoon and then start in District 3.
So
Foreseeing any breakdowns.
have the conditions been right? I mean, is this what they want? Hadn't been super hot.
Yeah, and it hasn't been wet, so,
Yeah. Yeah, they.
Get done today.
and 2. Yeah.
But I talked to John Friday. He thought that we wouldn't be finished till tomorrow.
Okay.
So all that new gravel on these,
Tomorrow.
well, bring it on, all that new gravel on the county blacktop now, people are dusting by my house. That's unusual, but they're doing a good job.
Yeah, and I was out on one of the roads the other day and, cause I had somebody that complained about they needed to use more oil because the rods were hitting his pickup. and I drove out by an area that they had just done, because I had to deliver something out to them. I didn't have anything in my car. Of
I
course,
can't
I
say I
wasn't
know.
driving 9B either.
Well, it would make a difference what kind of tires you got too, like mud tires, those.
Well, and
So-
probably with a truck, probably have
Yes.
bigger tires.
And it shouldn't last very long.
Well, no,
In a couple, 3 or 4 days of traffic.
Yep, we need to roll. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right. 8:30 now. We have Christina Henry from NEK Help on Zoom. Can you hear us?
Yep, good morning.
All right, good morning. Take it away.
Okay, I sent a proposed resolution last week. We had always opted out of school inspections. There's a portion of KSA 65-202 that requires public health to complete school inspections. Historically, counties could opt out due to home rule. Inadvertently, most likely it was inadvertent. It was removed. That wording was removed when they did the 2020 session that implemented different laws for COVID-19. And so then health departments had to begin doing school inspections. The issue is that our nurses have never been given any training by KDHE on how to complete school inspections. The schools are already inspected by the Department of Ed, and it's a bit redundant for us to go in. Also, we have no authority to make the schools change anything. So we can go in and say, you know, this needs to be done or that needs to be done, but we don't have any authority over the school in order to actually make them correct things. And there are things listed on the inspection sheets that nurses typically do not have any education in. So we feel like it opens us up for liability. For example, nurses aren't versed in HVAC. So when we're checking off HVAC, we're essentially looking and making sure that a licensed technician has done, you know, an inspection, an annual inspection, and that it's been serviced. And then we're signing off. But if something happens and we've signed off that, oh, it's great, that could be a problem. So now in 2024, they restored the county's right to opt out of those school inspections with a resolution. So I have submitted the draft resolution, and we are just asking that you restore that home rule so that public health isn't required to go in and complete these school inspections anymore.
So didn't quite understand. In the last couple of years, you haven't been inspecting? Since COVID, you have been inspecting the schools?
We have.
Okay.
That's your question?
Yep.
Okay. And you don't feel like, as I understand, you don't have the authority to compel the school to do anything, and you feel like you're checking things that maybe you're not qualified to check, and so you're concerned about liability. Is that right?
Yes, yes. And it's a redundancy. They have inspections that are required. So they are being inspected. It's not a matter of they just then wouldn't undergo any inspections. They still have their normal inspections that they get completed. And in talking to superintendents and principals, and it does seem just to be more of it's redundant, and it takes our time and their time, and it's already being done elsewhere.
Okay, well, that was the question I was gonna ask you about superintendents and principals, but if they think it's an exercise in futility, then that's good to know. All right, so do we have enough information to make a decision then?
Yeah, something we can do is a charter resolutions, so it's not Charter resolutions, if a statute's not uniformly applicable to all counties, you can underline this.
Okay, so would this be our, what charter number is it? Is it number 1 for the year?
I think we have an actually charter resolution, that's a separate pass, I don't, we've not had, if not, go ahead and use, it's not gonna matter, if you had it the other way, that's fine. But- Okay, yeah, it's been years since we've been charter.
All right, making history here then. So we 2025-12. Okay, so I'll make a motion then that we, was it enact? Charter resolution number 2025-12, which is
Just one thing, just
Yes.
keep in mind, charter resolutions are published and the effective date. Even though it's passed today, it takes effect 60 days after publication. So there's 2 publications. And
Oh.
the second publication is 60 days. It allows for a protest period if people want to protest and force some action.
So do I say approve then?
Yeah, you'll approve it and it's passed, it's adopted today.
Okay,
So there's adoption and then there's effect.
right on, okay. Well, I move we adopt charter resolution 2025-12.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
okay, it's adopted.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right, well, thank you for coming on.
You guys have a great day.
Dude,
Thank you.
we are. That was new territory. That's fun. That's charter resolution. Okay, we'll move on down then, 8:36. Let's go to the item number 5, the revised neighborhood revitalization program application.
If there well, just out of the line of that, go back, guys, just, it wouldn't happen again, there's some, because,
Okay.
the decision.
Oh, the commissioner reconsideration.
Yeah.
Okay, I confess, I looked at this thing and I thought it looks exactly the same as what we looked at before. Now, okay. Okay, that's wonderful. So now there's an opportunity, if we have a situation like last week, we can, it's pre-form, the pre-form, so.
Do we need to approve this?
Yeah, but,
Would anyone like to make the motion to approve this revised NRP application?
I move to approve the revised, NRP Neighborhood Revitalization Program
Got it.
application.
That's tricky to say. Is there a second? I'll second it. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, motion carried. We're down to number 6, which is the lights and sirens on a vehicle. Yep.
I would move we approve that. Lights and sirens for Brandon Thomas.
Okay, it's been moved. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carried. Lights and sirens. Number 7 is just tax change orders that we looked at. Something happening here, and everybody, you have any questions on those? Go on. Okay, number 8 is the noxious weed control policy. I took a phone call a couple weeks ago about this is the time of year where farmers get our noses, we know what we're smelling, and I got a call about 2,4-D in the air. And he was concerned, and so I asked Richie to put something down on paper, procedures and conditions on which he will or will not spray. And so he came up with this on his own. And I think it's important for people to know that he's just not randomly throwing chemical out, you know, whenever he feels like it. He's got some guidelines, and I think this is great. So if we could, is there a way to link this to make this public, maybe on the website? Something to throw this out so people could see it. And maybe print a copy off. If you guys get questions, we can hand it out.
I got a question for you.
Go ahead.
Is 15 mile per hour winds, is that?
That's what a lot of herbicides use is a 15 mile an hour. 15 is pretty windy, but a lot of labels say 15. That's what it is. And actually, as a guy that sprays for a living, if you can get a strong wind that's consistently blowing in one direction, I can plan for that. It's the darn winds that swirl.
Right.
When they get down to under 5, that's where you get in trouble. Because it goes places.
So him.
So, any questions on that? Would it be all right to link that on the website, the county website? Somehow? Is that all right? Yep. Okay, right on. Well, I thank him, Richie Rodwell, for putting that together. That is just great. Okay, now number 9 is something new. Okay.
Long haul ported. But we're still, we're all right, you know, that. I think that would add. Whatever maybe. Written form, I can think of, once you guys, you can get our office.
What is a variance request?
I can see that add there. With the, all of this.
It's under.
Oh.
This is where if the landfill was to close, we have to have money to close it and maintain it and the problem.
Okay.
So where does price come up? Did the state come up with this or is it?
Sorry.
Something that we came up on 64.
This is what you see, this 244.
Mm-hmm.
So mine's a live document with text boxes and everything. Yours isn't. Okay. That's why I scrolled past this pretty quickly because if I hit all the blue, I could type it in there. So. So the state is saying we need to have in our coffers $244,000 as a just in case we close the landfill fund. How are we going to have that?
What plan is actually?
Yeah.
I don't see anyone use this. It's like most recently completed fiscal year and we're gonna must have been here. So. Like comments.
So we need to submit a variance request. And we can get through this year. We do something next year, yeah. If the state financial assurance officer says in the email that it's a giant problem, then sounds like they'd be ready to work. So whatever variance request is, it sounds like we need to submit it.
Unless we have a problem with landfill, probably.
I guess. I guess.
Take care of it.
Speaking of landfills too, Nemaha County raised their rates. I heard that, yeah. So we may be getting more trash sent our way.
Need to raise it again.
Well, I guess the landfill business is where we need to be.
So if we could put some away each year for that, is there a special fund you could put it in? You could leave it in a capital improvement or something, but that would be, it's always subject to taking it out.
Right.
So anyways,
Well, surely they'll come up with, I mean, to have us have $250,000 in an account just in case the landfill closes seems a little bit of a
Excessive.
stretch. Maybe they'll work something out better at the state, send it to us next year is what I hope. So do we need to make a motion to have you submit it?
So,
Well, I would make a motion that we have our clerk send the financial assurance officer at the Bureau of Waste Management a variance request to get us through this year as far as this landfill closure. Second, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, motion carried. Good job. Another new item taken care of. Miss Warner, it is 8:45. We thank you for waiting patiently. You did? Well, we're glad. Glad.
See you in action.
Oh my, check that off your bucket list, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Well, thanks for
I'm here
coming.
yes, I'm here today to ask you to sign a resolution, for the Pony Express. The Pony Express, ran in the 1860s, and it created a tremendous amount of history for the 18 months that worked. And, we are, as a group, there in Kansas has started this to have it become a byway. And there's, let's see, seven, I think it's seven. There's 12 byways already in Kansas, and 7 of them are historic or scenic, and the other 3 are historic byways, and that's history for the forts and Route 66 and just the Western culture. So this describes, the resolution describes where it goes. It starts at Elwood, goes to turns there at Troy, comes all the way around. I think you probably know where it does go. And then it ends at Hollenberg, and which then Nebraska picks it up. They're running today, and they started a few days ago out in Sacramento. So they will be here Saturday.
Is that true to the original route, or is it just falling?
Yes.
It is. I mean,
Yes.
they took all.
Yes, they take all the route that was existing during that time, and you have to. Some of them ran a wider path, so you could have a path that's maybe half a mile long. Wide, but still taking the original trail, yeah.
Where was the first station in Canada?
Well, Elwood,
Excuse me, out of Elwood to where? Where was the first? Where'd they go from there?
from Elwood.
Yeah.
To Troy,
Okay.
and then Everest, Horton. Back around Seneca, Seneca. And then on up to Hollenberg.
Oh,
And we're hoping that the rest of the states will pick it up. There's 11 states, so we're hoping that they will pick it up. But it's a tourism thing, and we went before the state tourism and to see if we couldn't do that. It'll be more, we went and marked all the mile markers. We have put down like what kind of scenes do you see along those mile markers. So we did a lot of travel and a lot of writing down to get it all. It'll be combined into a book, so people can get the book, and we have every like gas stations for gas stations, eating places, things like that are along the route, and then it'll be marked once we get all the resolutions done.
okay.
And that's it.
So when they ride on that, they don't stay on the highway all the time, don't they?
No,
cut off?
if they can get, and they come usually. Oh, a week or so before, if we've had a lot of rains, they'll check, because there's a lot of those roads that are still dirt.
Right,
And they can get stuck pretty easy.
but usually they prefer that rather than staying on the highway, if it's available.
If it's available, yeah, just because of the historic value of it, and the highways that are listed here, when they list these out of the state, they want the traveler, the tourism, or the tourist to be safe, so they list the main roads, but in the publication that'll come out, it will tell you where the original, yeah.
So it'll give you a map.
Mhm.
That shows it goes through Kennecott or wherever.
Yep, yeah.
And so the local group is, the group that runs the horses is a group that's applying for it, or is it?
No, it's another group. It's a group, a representative out of each county. And in Kansas, and so we do various things. I'm representing Reinvent Horton. So,
So I read, the Kansas Byways Advisory Committee. It took me to, well, to the website. My concern was something about, you know, a corridor, but it sounds like other than sign restrictions, they talk about economic development and private land development, and they want to, I actually encourage
mhm.
that. So my issues, I guess, were addressed just by doing a little internet research.
Mhm.
So it's good. Sounds,
So they limited signs in some place, or is that just on the scenic ones that they limited the size of the signs they could put up?
I think we have to go by the state. We have to go by the state and the size of the sign. Yeah.
I mean, there was restrictions already on what kind
Yeah.
of signs you could put up or, and getting,
Yeah, we have to
License
deal with
permits
the
and stuff.
Department of Transportation and Tourism and the Kansas Historical Society. So that has to, those signs have to pass through those.
all right, any more questions?
Good.
All right,
and then I guess my question was, could another company put a sign up in that area?
I don't think I don't,
I think, seemed like it was restricted.
yeah, it was, yeah, I don't think so.
And I don't see too many signs on house roads anyway. I don't know that the issue.
all right, well. Anybody want to make a motion?
Resolution.
13.
I'll make a motion to approve on resolution 5-13 press start. It's the vertical.
He
It
did
gets
that,
hysterical.
he
every
did that
once
on
in a while.
purpose. He did that on purpose. Is there a second? All
I was
It
second.
is Monday.
I was second that.
right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
motion carried.
Thank you, gentlemen, very much.
Thank you for coming in.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for doing this. I think that's important.
Thank you.
Okay. Sorry. We'll, we have a 10 o'clock here. So I assume he's gonna talk about the appraisal report. Is there anything else? Okay. Okay, good. Have what?
No,
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, the county doesn't have any hoops to jump through. It's all of the state. If you want that, so. So he's reaching out for more information. Did you say he wanted to come to the?
oh my.
Uh-huh.
And so when I went back, yeah, you want any further.
Oh,
I don't know which direction they're going to there. And that's gonna be funny.
well, okay, so again, the red flag. pops out. This is part of that, we want to keep Kansas an ag-friendly state. This sounds like a zoning type thing. Possibly, so. I'm not too interested in that myself, but I mean, I don't know, if he wants to share some information, that's fine too. As long as it's just. Information.
I think the issue that brought up last time was gonna be built right next to the real water supply.
Okay,
The proposed chicken farm would have been right beside the, virtually right beside of
In the same section.
the same section as
okay,
where they get the rural water district two gets the water. supply.
yeah,
Well, that was the concern that
Of course, neighbors don't really want that kind of stuff. But I don't know. You're right, if it's a zoning question, don't want to zone everything, we don't want to do that.
information's fine, like if somebody wanted to build a commercial hog, like a finishing barn. Right now, the state has procedures in place and policies where, you say where you're gonna put it, then you gotta give all your neighbors a certain radius notice, and then they have an opportunity to. To restrict it, but. I guess I don't have a feeling one way or the other. About having come in for more information. We don't want any, is that okay with you?
That's
Okay, no information. We're full of information now, we do not need any more. Sound good? Hey, thank you. Was there anything else under there we should have looked at?
So, 2134. I think you go back to it first. If we decide to have like a 3 meetings during a public comment, it has to. Someone is watching, they have to be able to speak out if they look here in person. There's no great way to do that. That's where he's at. Conference, so make it recorded and put on afterwards and not live. Have it that. But. Or not, where it all, we're having it open. This live stream. So.
I mean, where is that stand right now?
They don't, I think that's basically like.
So Kevin, when you read that, I see through the selected medium for the public to observe. Oh, you don't have, well, rats. I thought maybe your lawyer vision, you would see that. Okay, that's.
Yeah, I had Dropboxes, so we were basically paperless, so all of our. Investigative reports, body cam videos, all that are on Dropbox, but it's a highly secured.
Sure, better be.
Structure, and so, signing on to this is. Some. Sure, also she has to.
So this wouldn't interfere when we have a work session afterwards and we don't do that, that wouldn't. interfere.
It's, so when I read that, it says for the public to observe if. And I don't know, try to wash, but why wouldn't it say participate? Participate.
Right.
They can observe us.
Yeah, I mean, the one solution for that is going to be, it's really not a method of doing that, is to. Record and post after the meeting.
That's fine, when you get, I listen to what she said, that's fine, you know, and she implied, speak quote, that's that there.
Oh, there you go.
Well-
Because
That would be a solution.
the resolution is saying, if we live stream, the public has to be able to come.
Okay.
Live.
Yeah, the only way of doing that is if you had a massive
Join
meeting or something.
Yeah.
But that just has its own security issue, so.
Well, I agree with Lucas, it just says observe, and observe to me is just viewing, not necessarily.
Well, that's it, I think all aspects of it, so all aspects. of-
Okay.
So
Okay.
all aspects would also include.
Well, you
Okay.
guys still saw a way around it, so that's fine. So essentially, we're gonna do the same thing. It just won't be live. You're gonna record it and you'll put a As soon as you adjourn, then be free to post some time. Yeah. And that's.
Went to your meeting thing, explain it to you, yeah.
It's on my hat. So, and
Okay.
so they could, was like, on that, but not in well. It is like an open platform.
People are much brave behind the keyboard.
That is true.
Can't see.
That is very
They don't
true.
want to say.
Okay, so do we need to make a motion then to change our policy or we just change it?
Do we have a policy that we're live streaming or is it just informal? I mean, I don't know if you ever voted on that, but we could, we could have we could have a motion, effective, our last June 30th meetings. Like on the agenda, just the motions we,
Okay.
not live stream, but post recordings following included in the meeting with violent statutes.
Sounds good. So we'll come up with something. And then so nice work, everybody figuring that one out. Okay, now at 9 o'clock, we have Watco benefits. They're on screen. Good morning.
How's everyone doing today?
Quite well, thank you.
Good, good. Well, we appreciate you revisiting with us to follow up on our previous discussion. I'm going to go ahead and pull up our presentation here shortly, but I just wanted to ask, and follow up to our previous conversation, are there any new items that you'd like to focus on during our time together?
Anything new? I don't think so.
All right, great. So let's see here. Working on sharing my screen here. We've been getting some new systems in place here at our office, so it's been a little bit of a learning curve for us. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So in our last meeting, as you recall, we jumped ahead and focused on the budget. So we're going to circle back to a couple other items that we had to discuss. This next page here, which we're on page 3, if you're following along on a hard copy, is we just wanted to go through our upcoming renewals just as a means of planning. So we do have all lines of coverage coming up for renewal as of January, with the exception of the vision policy, as at our most recent renewal, we did have a 3-year rate guarantee. So we'll have the medical plan, the dental plan, then we have an FSA and the life policy that will all be up for renewal in January. We do expect to get the renewals the 1st of October. So as soon as we have that prepared, that's when we would reconvene to review the renewals and do some planning, unless, of course, you'd like us to discuss that any sooner, as far as if there's any alternatives that you're interested in exploring. We could certainly discuss that process, but as far as the renewals go, that'll be the 1st of October. Any questions there?
So you said, discuss alternatives. So, I guess I have a question, and if we're just talking about it, so the county pays 100% of the premium. What are the other alternatives to that?
So when I say alternatives, that would be if you're interested in making any plan design changes with Blue Cross, or if we were to even look outside of Blue Cross. If you wanted to do some marketing, we work on your behalf to see how your plan and rates compare to alternatives in the market. Now, our options to do that are a little more limited before we get the renewal, as some carriers do want to see your renewal. But that is something that we could start the process sooner if you were looking at maybe doing that.
Are there opportunities to do that and potentially save the county some premium money? Or do you sacrifice quality of coverage? Is the juice worth the squeeze, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, from a name recognition standpoint, the employees are most likely gonna want to stay with Blue Cross. But there can be savings opportunities as with Blue Cross. It's a bundled approach where, you know, they're administering the medical plan. They have their own pharmacy benefit manager. We don't really have the option to carve out anything with their plan to help with cost containment. If we were to go to another approach, we could really dial in more on the pharmacy where we do have some high costs, where we could look at just getting a different pharmacy benefit manager. And there would be options available like patients assistance programs where we could get funding for prescriptions to reduce the cost to the plan and to the member. There are programs out there that do international drug sourcing, such as getting the drugs maybe from Canada or another location at a cheaper price. Those are just a couple examples of programs that are out there that we can't utilize while being with Blue Cross. So we do see employers considering going that route when their costs get to be a little too high to handle to try and better manage those. But of course, there would be disruption likely a little bit on the member side if your employees do like Blue Cross.
This is such a, I mean, I confess, health insurance, I'm glad you're here because I have more questions than I have knowledge about health insurance, but it is a significant budget item in the county. And I'm not sure the process it takes to research alternatives. I do believe 100% employee fund or employer funded health insurance seems to be getting more rare. I've done enough asking around with private industry that, you know, to have it 100% funded by the employer is, I mean, I didn't hear anybody say that's the way they do it. So if there's a way to research alternatives, so if nothing else, we have information to make better decisions on, you know, maybe we make no change, but I'd sure like to know what the other alternatives are out there. Because I think health insurance is a huge issue, but I also think it's a huge benefit. And we need to better quantify that. And show employees or show taxpayers, you know, why we make the decisions we do.
Yeah,
Does
of
that make
course.
sense?
And in the meantime, if you wanted to start as a starting point with some benchmark data, we could always look at that versus evaluating the market. If that's more of what you're looking for, where we could look at national averages as well as our book of business to show, you know, this is what the typical plan designs are that we see with other employers, as well as contributions to show kind of what that looks like, as well as rates as a whole, the total cost of the plan. So if you want us to analyze from a benchmarking standpoint as a start to see how your plan compares, we could certainly do that easily.
Can you compare it to other industries, just say Brown, Donovan, Atchison County specifically, or is it across like the state of Kansas?
Yeah, for our book of business would be across the state of Kansas. And it would be varied industries, but we could probably try and dial in a little bit more, see if we could get it to be more specific to counties. You know, we do support more than one county. We support 3 at the moment. But, you know, the plan designs, you know, just between the 3 of you all are quite different.
So if I hear that right, you work with 3 counties, but you work with a lot of private business then? Is that right? Private industry?
That's correct, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good to know too, because that's a whole different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've got about 90 customers throughout the states of Kansas and Missouri. So we've got a pretty good cross section and have been in business helping those customers for 20 plus years. So we've got a pretty good broad brush, but you are asking an awful lot of really good questions. There was one thing that I'm curious about is I was not aware, and Jess, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I was not aware that the employees are not paying anything for the coverage right now. Cause I thought they were.
They are family. And
Okay, okay,
But
Okay.
employee only, we pay 100%.
yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't explain that right.
Oh, no, that's good. And frankly, that in and of itself, and we've talked about that just kind of over the years. I mean, the average would be the employees on average would pay at least $100 per employee per month. So, like what Jess is saying, we've got some resources that we can show you that would give you an idea. And I would agree with you that your costs are high, and the costs are high because the claims have been high. I mean, it's pretty fundamental. Your cost for a company of your size, for a group of your size, are a function of the claims. And as the claims are high, then unfortunately, we get some help in what's called a manual with Blue Cross. Um, and I like the way that you outline that. Is the juice worth the squeeze? I've never heard that one, but I like that one because I mean, honestly, we think we're in a really good spot with Blue Cross because we've got a self-funded plan and we're getting the rebates back. Most of our clients that are with Blue Cross, if they can, they move to where you are. And the reason is because it gives us the opportunity to better engage within the cost of the plan. If it's fully insured, Blue Cross gets it one way or the other. At least if the claims turn around, we've got a positive situation. But I would say that, like Jess pointed out, I mean, there's lots of alternatives to Blue Cross in the market. And part of our job is to help you evaluate those and consider whether, that squeeze is worth the juice. I mean, if we get enough juice out of it. And it's really hard to tell. When we've looked at it in the past, there is no doubt that Blue Cross was the best fit. But I really appreciate where you're coming from when you say collectively we've got a job to do, and that job is to make sure that the cost and the benefits are the best possible for all the residents and the employees of Brown County.
Well, we'll look forward to getting some information on that then.
Yeah.
So, yeah, continue on, please.
Of course. So this next couple pages we reviewed last time. I guess before I scroll through them, is there any revisiting you'd like to do to the budget, or do you feel like you all are in a good spot?
I think we are where we need to be for now. We meet we meet to discuss more budgeting in a few days. Yeah, so we're right where we need to be for right now, but subject to change. How's that?
Yep.
That sounds good. And if anything comes from the meeting that we can help with, just let us know.
Okay.
So this next page we kind of touched on it a little bit, but we wanted to go through it in a little more detail, this year-over-year claims update. So this we like to look at the first few months of the year of this year compared to the same time period last year. So we do have 5 months worth of data, January through May. And so this looks at the total medical payments that you all had for those months, and then which were your liability versus Blue Cross's liability. So I'll walk through each of these line items just to make sure that we're all on the same page. So we did have a slight decrease in enrolled employees for this time frame of the year, so 70 compared to 65. Medical total payments are down 36% compared to this time last year, which is a positive as long as members are seeking the care that they need. But that could slightly be attributed to the drop in lives. Or just maybe the group is a little bit healthier at this point compared to last point, or the enrollment changed. The people that were actually covered changed. So those could be a few variables. The medical payments over 50,000. So like we talked about in our last meeting, there is a $50,000 specific stop loss level for each plan participant. And so the county is responsible for claims up to 50,000, and anything above that would be Blue Cross's liability. So at this point last year, we did have an 10,000, almost $11,000 above the $50,000 specific. So a large claimant at that time that Blue Cross took on some of that liability for that member. And then the medical payments under 50,000 are reflected there. So again, lower at this point compared to last point. And then the really positive item that we wanted to talk about is that at this point last year, you had already exceeded your monthly attachment point. So you have a monthly aggregate. And what that means is that your liability is capped on a monthly basis, which helps with cash flow. And so at this point last year, you had actually met your max liability and exceeded it by almost 30,000. So again, when you exceed your liability, Blue Cross took on that almost 30,000. And so this year we're running at 62%. Last year we were at 100% of that liability. So just we're starting off the year in a much better position, which is great to see. I know we talked last meeting about how as the year evolves, you know, the individuals will end up meeting their responsibilities. So then the plan takes on more. But, you know, starting off where we are compared to last year, you know, it's just you know, something that gives us hope that maybe this trend will continue. Any questions on this? As I know it's kind of a lot of numbers and stuff that maybe we haven't talked about in a while.
So the monthly attachment point was increased this year by quite a bit. So we're going to be responsible for more this year than we were last year.
Yes, so last year we did get a rate increase at the renewal on the claims. I can pull that up real quick to see what that was.
Yeah,
that'd be a good-
Actually, I think
that
I
would be-
have that printed
that-
off here.
Yeah.
So
that'd be
the
great.
expected
Yeah.
the expected claims got a 24.5% increase at the 2025 renewal. You know, that's a variable cost. So your claims, you're only going to pay that if your claims run up to that level. But that, you know, because we did exceed the liability last year, Blue Cross did, you know, make up for that in the renewal.
Yeah, and Jess, if you don't mind, one thing that I just want to reiterate with that is yes, we did get a rate increase, but we had a really, really bad year last year on the claims. And one might think, okay, well, we're having a good year because the liability went up. But if we were fully insured with Blue Cross and we had the year that we did last year, we'd have been looking at, you know, 35 to 40% increase without any opportunity of saving money if the claims come back. Just based off our experience with Blue Cross, based off how the claims ran. So just reiterating and recognizing though, that I think there is a point here that's valid to talk about. Well, and that is, you know, if we wanted to reduce our total risk, we could go back to a fully insured plan. But when you go back to a fully insured plan, all of the rebates go back to Blue Cross. And if we have a good year, then Blue Cross benefits and we don't. We made the decision last year because we had an opportunity to go back to a fully insured plan. The commission and us collectively, we made the decision to go. Yeah, thank you, Jess. We made the decision to stay with the self-funded plan, and the reason we did is because we thought long run it was a better situation, but if I mean, we had an option on the table and Jess is showing it to you right here. Um, that would have, reduced our total liability by quite a bit of money, but we decided to stay the course and stay the course because most, like I said, most companies, if they go to a self-funded plan, you have to give it, 3 to 4 years at least because you're going to have good years and bad years. We started out with a bad year, unfortunately.
I'm not
But
saying we
just,
should change.
yeah.
That's just a question. I mean, I agree with what we're doing.
Yeah, yeah, and honestly, I'm not trying to. I want to give you the full picture as to what we did and why, and also point out that at the renewal again this year, we can always look back at going fully insured. So just yeah, I mean, not trying to be sensitive by any means, just coming back and just giving everybody because not everybody was here when we made that decision. So I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page in regard to the information and what we did last year and why.
Yes, so you definitely keep fully insured as an option on the
Yeah.
table and request another quote at renewal, like Greg mentioned.
Yeah.
I don't think it hurts for us to do that, just to continue to weigh the pros and cons.
Just random question. If you're working with private business, what do you see? I mean, what are the trends? I mean, as healthcare costs continue and insurance costs continue to rise, I guess, in our position, we can just raise property tax and take more money in and just pay the bill. A business, I guess, can somewhat affect that with raising prices, but of course you run into all that. They still have to be profitable. I mean, are people moving in towards more health insurance? Are they moving away from it? Are there ways to compensate employees instead of playing the insurance game? Can you just pay more? And let them take care of it themselves. I mean, that's why we have all this health insurance marketplace and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Just totally throwing spitballs at you from, out of nowhere. It's just a serious concern. I mean, I watched this in my own family and we just stepped back and we got out of it, got out of conventional health insurance. We went to a major medical type thing. And, we just, I guess, just play the game. We just do it a little differently because it was too expensive.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Jess, do you want to start with addressing that, or would you like me to? We can go either way.
Yeah, I'll let you start on it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing is once companies have a practice of providing health insurance for their employees, I think it's difficult to take that away. And I think it's been difficult also in a way from a standpoint of companies that have 50 or, employees or more. With Obamacare, they went to a mandate where they have to provide insurance. And if they don't provide insurance, they have to pay a penalty. So I think that process of evaluating, do we participate or do we just pay the penalty? It's kind of like that pay or play is what'll, and some people have said, okay, I'm just going to pay the penalty. I'm going to get out of the game. But I think within our book of business, we haven't seen anybody take that. That's a pretty radical approach. Now, what a lot of companies have done is they've dramatically modified, like what you guys are doing. A lot of our clients have gone to self-funded plans because they give you a lot more control in regard to your cost. So most of our clients of your size and larger are going to a self-funded plan, and just because the insurance company, they always win if it's fully insured. They either give you a big rate increase or they give you a rate increase when they should be giving you a reduction. So most of our clients that are your size have gotten to where you're at, but it's a dilemma because it's the way inflation has been in the last 3 to 5 years. It's even more, it's always been that way with health insurance. And now it's even more because we've got inflation, plus we have, technology and all these advancements and drug costs. So It's a complicated issue, and it's one that has provided an awful lot of opportunity, honestly, for our firm to help other companies, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Thank you. very much.
Greg, I'm just Rich. I gotta leave. I had funeral to officiate, so. I wanna
Sure.
say I've talked to you personally, well, but thank you, but I do gotta.
Okay.
Of course. Of
Okay.
course.
So, but we're going to, some of my questions will be answered because you're going to drill down and do a little research and some cost comparisons on, on different ideas. You're going to benchmark. You should use benchmarks from businesses and governments throughout the state.
Yep.
And some of these questions I have, we'll be able to put some numbers to them
Yep.
and we'll get them answered. Okay. This is wonderful. It's a dilemma. Your business deals with it on a daily basis. I'm trying to figure out how we can find that balance between, treating our employees right. But I mean, we just can't continue to have increasing healthcare costs or health insurance costs. I mean, essentially it's exponential growth. You talk 10% a year, you're doubling in what, like, is that 5 years, 6 years, anyway, whatever the numbers is, it gets big fast.
It does. It does. You're absolutely, and it is big right now. I mean, when we came on on your plan, it's been probably 5 years ago now. We looked at your cost and you're like, oh my gosh. And the cost of actually, there were a couple of years that we were able to get reductions from Blue Cross just as a result of negotiating them with them. And then we had a really bad year in claims last year. But it's a process of us continuing to work together to identify alternatives and for us to bring them to you and for you to weigh them and us to help you make decisions together.
Okay, well, that's great. And just one more question. Do we have the option, if the county enrolls in a certain plan, does that mean, can we tailor plans specifically to people? I mean, say, could we have two options? Could we have the regular health insurance option that we've got right now? And can you do anything with, say people didn't want that, say they wanted to do something a little different. Maybe they thought they wanted to take, a different approach to their health insurance or medical care. Can we split things up or do we have to go all or none?
Yeah, you could certainly do that as long as both options are offered to all employees, and then they could make the decision. We have looked at direct primary care with your group in the past as an option. And so that's something we could always talk about again.
Okay, thank you. And I really, that little nugget you said, 50 or more employees, we have to provide insurance. So I didn't know that. And so that makes sense to me now. And that was, Greg, you said that a while ago, but that was one of those little things I gleaned. So no wonder we're going down this road. I mean, we have to legally, or we pay a big fine. So
That's right. That's right.
So last year we put in some incentives to get people to have physicals or whatever to cut down on some of their problems. Have you noticed any of that is that enough taking advantage of that to make it worthwhile, or has that we gained any benefit from that you can tell?
Yeah, I might defer to Nikki. I know the employees were going to be reporting back to you, I believe, to be able to get their incentive. Do you know if employees have been taking advantage of that?
we heard two people.
Too. So not likely the number that we would like to see, but it is something that we decided to throw out there, see if the employees were receptive. It just as a reminder for all the items that we were incentivizing were to complete a dental exam and an annual physical. To get $100 gift card. And then the other was $100 for completing disease management, which was completing 6 calls with a Blue Cross Blue Shield nurse, in order to better manage their condition. So So it's certainly something I feel like is worth continuing. Maybe we can strategize on, you know, how to promote that better to the employees and just maybe remind them that that's available. I don't know if that's something you all would want to keep doing, but maybe we could just better educate that to the employees and try and drive up participation.
I think so. Appreciate what you're doing.
Do we,
Of
will we
course.
see in your breakdown or your result or analysis here, do we have options as far as co-pays, deductibles, things like that? I mean, can you initiate a program? Does Blue Cross still have anything or any of these companies where, you know, we can lower our monthly premiums because you have a bigger deductible? But we can manage deductibles that, like the employer can manage some of that stuff if we can. What am I trying to say here? If we can lower our premiums, have a $10,000 deductible, but have some sort of program where the county funds, you know, a big chunk of that because we've saved it in premium. I mean, can you do things like that? Can we get creative?
So we're already having a $5,000 payment or deductible, right? Or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing both of those things right
Okay.
now. I mean,
I should have assumed that.
I guess the question is, can we increase it? So is there a difference between if we're at 5,000 now, does it help if it goes to 10,000 or whatever?
yeah, I mean, there's a couple of things that I would say, and there's a couple strategies. One is what we've done is we've got one plan design right now. We don't have an HSA, right, Jess?
We just have the one plan and we
Yeah.
have an FSA.
We have an FSA, but not an HSA. So
Correct.
right now, we've got a front end deductible we're buying from Blue Cross that's pretty high. Plus, we're self-funding. So we're really leveraging both of the ideas that you're talking about right now because we're self-funding and we've got a high deductible. So we've been relative to strategies to control cost. I think we're in a good spot. The one thing that we can do that we've not, and I think this is kind of like what you were saying before, would be a lot of our clients offer two different plans to the employees. They offer a very high deductible with an HSA account, and then they offer a plan similar to what we're doing right now with a lower deductible and a lower out of pocket. That way the employees can elect the plan. And that's also a strategy that allows us to pass on more of the cost for the lower deductible plan for the employees. It's hard when you're paying all of the cost, like for the single, like you are right now, because you get pigeonholed into doing anything. Because when you pay all of the single cost, it makes it hard to put in a higher deductible because who's going to buy? Nobody wants to buy that because they're already so a strategy would be, you could charge the employees $50 for the plan or whatever you want. 100 would be the norm, but if you could say if you want your current plan, we can do that. But you're going to have to pay for it. If you want an HSA plan that has a higher deductible, we'll pay all the cost. We'll pay 100% of the cost. And like you're doing now, that allows you to probably put together a plan, and we'll show you some benchmark data, but that'll allow you to put together a plan that would probably be a little more mainstream. And I think that's what you're asking. That's what your objective is. Most of our clients have two different plans.
Okay,
Yeah, and
well,
to add to that, we noticed that when employees have to pay something towards the plan, you know, they're just gonna be more considerate, I guess, to the care that they're getting or where they're getting care, if they have some skin in the game.
Yeah.
And that's important when you have a self-funded plan.
For sure.
all right, well, I'd like to see that. I mean, nothing else, just for reference.
Yeah.
And I should have known everything I ask you, you've probably been asked 100 times.
Not
And
a problem at all. We appreciate the questions.
Well, I appreciate your patience. I'm just trying to
Sure.
figure out how the county gets ahead of this. This is one of those budget items that that is just,
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of it's out of our control, not all of it, but it just continues to grow and it's a, I mean, it's just an issue. I wish we had oil wells or diamond mines or something in Brown County, to fund this stuff. We just don't have it.
You'd have a lot more people up there, let me tell you.
Well, okay, all right.
Yeah.
So you're going to come back to us sometime with some more information on different strategies, different programs, different, and then I guess information on just continuing more of the same. But we'll have some numbers we can compare and analyze and maybe, we may make a decision to go down the same exact road, but it'll be a more informed decision. Is that about right?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my thought would be, Jess, we can get the benchmark data together really as soon as you want to get it together. But I think, sometime in July, and we'll have one more month of claims, and then all of a sudden we'll be able to start giving you an idea as to how the renewal is going to look, knowing that the renewal is probably not going to be available until October. But at least we can do some planning. It might be of value. I mean, it's up to you guys. Once we get the claims through July, which will be like mid-August, then we'll have a real good idea of what the renewal is going to look like. So it might, I mean, we can get together again in July, go through the benchmark, review the claims in August. If you'd like to do that, and we're fine with doing that. If you'd rather wait until we get the claims through July, we could do that as well. It's up to you all.
Well, I think it's great. I'm going to ask the clerk, how does that work with the budgeting process? If we wait till August? We can't at all, right? Okay, so yeah, we have to do it sooner. We can't wait for the July claims. If you meant we have to wait till August to process July claims, is that what I heard you say?
Well, that's what happens, but we don't have to wait till then. We can
I guess, we can't do it, so.
get together like mid-July. Does mid-July work?
Does mid-July work? Or yeah, and that's very important. Clerk just brought that up. Nikki just brought that up. So we've got a budget consultant. I mean, we hired this man specifically to help us through this. He comes on
Okay.
Wednesday. He's heard everything and he's put some things together, and we're just like we've asked you to do. He's going to give us a range of, I mean, we cut everything and we turn all the lights off in the courthouse till we fund everybody with everything in one plus sum. So
Okay.
that happens on Wednesday.
Okay.
We'll be more informed sometime in, July, I guess. Would
Okay.
work.
Well, I mean, we're on your schedule, so I mean, we could get the benchmark data is probably going to take, probably a couple weeks at the most. We've got some data we could share even quicker. So, maybe after you guys get together on Wednesday, you kind of report back to us, and then we'll determine what's the most appropriate strategy after we get that data.
That's a good idea. I think we can do that.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay,
All
was
right.
there- Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Sounds good. Well, the only other item we have on our presentation is just that we looked at the utilization for your plan, just to try and look at what's been driving up plan costs and give some insight there. Now, just keep in mind that this is based on data from May through April. So it's going to cross over between two contract periods. We've been talking about how your plan's running better this year than last year, but this data is based on, and it overlaps between the two time periods. So your per member per month cost towards facility charges are higher than Blue Cross's book of business by 57%. So that's one of the key drivers. The diagnosis categories that have contributed towards the plan paid costs for facility charges have been congestive heart failure, degenerative joint disease, acute pancreatitis, and musculoskeletal disorders. We like to look at this data just to see if there's any trends or any areas of opportunity for education, or if it's just, unfortunately, some of these things are hard to avoid. So that's for facility charges. And then pharmacy, like we've talked about, is another key driver for your plan. Your per member per month costs are higher than Blue Cross book of business by 88%. So $282 per member per month versus the $150 per member per month. But I would say this is not out of the norm, as a lot of our groups do have higher pharmacy costs due to specialty drugs or just high utilization in general. But where you're seeing a lot of your costs coming from is diabetes. You do have 32 members taking a prescription for diabetic therapy, and plan paid costs for diabetic therapy in the most recent 12 months totaled $203,000. Which was 58% of your total plan paid pharmacy spend. So a big chunk of that was for diabetes. Now, we did put in a program called Virta Health with Blue Cross, and that's a type 2 diabetes reversal program. Now, in October of last year, we had decided to do a dedicated run with Blue Cross because there were 18 members identified that could qualify for that program, and none were engaging. And so we asked Blue Cross to do an outreach and target members by, phone calls and letters, letting them know this program's available. So I will reach out and see if we can get an update on if any utilization has taken place more recently. But this is just something that I think we should continue to promote internally. It always helps when the employees hear it from multiple levels. If they don't want to just hear it from Blue Cross, maybe if you all promote it internally, that could help drive engagement as well, and try and help with that cost. And that's what I have for the presentation portion of our meeting.
With 66 members in our plan, is that normal to have 32, almost 50% with?
Now, when you say six, are you talking about employees only?
Well, when I look at we're covering 60. Where did I
Yeah.
65.
So that's employees, 32 members. That includes dependents as well.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It
Okay,
is
so-
still high though.
Yes.
honestly.
Yeah, and there's
Yeah, it is.
programs, so Blue Cross Blue Shield has programs, because you're talking, so diabetes, I don't know much about either, but you said type 2, what's the difference? I mean, what's type 2?
Yeah, so type 2 diabetes is just the worst of the two, type 1 and type 2. But with type 2, you can better manage it with food, lowering your A1C, and helping reduce your medication if you can get your levels to be where they should be. And so that's where this program comes into play, is just trying to have that coaching from nurses, providing a care plan, and so that way individuals could hopefully naturally lose weight, lower their A1C, and therefore then the prescription costs go down if they don't need to be managed by medication any longer. So it's just something worthwhile to try and get employees to engage in to better manage that.
Well, I just want to have you clarify, and I think you said type 2 is worse, but I think, didn't you mean to say type 1? I mean, type 1 is the.
Yeah, type 1 would be the lowest one, yeah.
Oh, yes, sorry. So we're trying to hopefully get people from not getting to type 1 diabetes by better managing their condition while they're at type 2, yes.
Okay,
Type 1 has insulin, so I think it's pretty expensive. So.
okay, so you have a mitigation program, for lack of a better term, in place for type 2 diabetes, but I'm sure it's not mandatory, it's voluntary. But is there significant savings to be had if people participate, or is it just based on if they choose to participate and then they I guess whatever they lower their levels, then we pick that up on the prescription side? Is that?
Well, the hope is that their levels reduce and that they don't need to take prescriptions.
Right.
Yes.
So do we as an employer, do we have any ability to say, hey, if you fall in this category, you need to do this program?
I think, can't you do incentives? I mean, I don't think you can necessarily punish, but if you had like aren't there incentive programs that you can have for employees if they meet certain thresholds? I mean, you can't take away.
Yeah. And I think that's where we were targeting the disease management program with the $100 gift card, is that, diabetes is one of those conditions that it falls under Blue Cross's disease management program. So we wanted to be able to encompass more of the population to be able to qualify for that incentive versus just target individuals with diabetes. When you focus on a specific population, some people are less receptive to that, I feel like, because they feel like they're being called out. So we just wanted to say disease management in general.
Right.
So with the two out of whatever participation rate, which is pretty low, 3%, is our incentive at $100? Is that just not
Yes.
enough?
Oh.
Is that part of the reason why there's no participation? I mean, if you up the ante a little bit, are there potentials? Are there ways for us to save on insurance premium side if more people take part? Or is it less of a numbers game? Like, if we had 30 people do it, does Blue Cross say, well, you got 30 people doing it, that's wonderful? Or do they look at the results and the hopefully the less expense, the medical expense of those same 30 people? Is that where you get your savings? Or is it just a numbers game where, hey, you got so many people that are at least trying?
Yeah. Are you saying that does Blue Cross consider the engagement with your renewal?
I guess if there's an incentive program to encourage folks, and I'm not picking on diabetes, but it's right there in front of me. So if you got 32 people that are in that category, and say we have 2 people right now that are working on this disease mitigation or disease management with the Blue Cross to get this $100 gift card, if they do this, jump through these hoops. If we raise that and got more people to join in the program, does that qualify us for a potential savings with Blue Cross just because they got in the program? Or do they have to go ahead and see the health benefit before we could get the savings? Does that make
I
sense?
mean, that's a good question. I mean, it's a self-funded plan. So I think by all means, I mean, if we went from 2 to 30, that's going to help us in 2 ways. One, it's going to improve the health of the employees over a long period of time and well, the members, and that will result in lower claims. Those lower claims will help us on renewal. The other thing is we can always work with the underwriter at the renewal to say, hey, it's going to take a while for your program to make an impact, and when we can negotiate, anytime you guys put us in a better position as a result of participation in a plan, that's our job to leverage that information with the underwriter. But most specifically, they're not going to give you just an immediate credit. If we get, it's going to take time, and in general, the health of the employees, and I think that's one of the things that's a challenge is getting people, to think about their health relative to the long run and how they've done things. Because a lot of these people most people, frankly, they just take what the doctor tells them as gospel. And sometimes they're taking drugs that there's a lot of alternatives that are out there. And that's where, kind of like what Jess was saying, we got in this primary care clinic idea for the idea of saying, how can we help the employees become better medical consumers? And it's really hard without having them change their characteristics and their patterns, because people don't change easily. And one of the things that we looked at with the clinic was there's a lot of people that are taking really expensive drugs where there's alternatives that are available that are just as efficient for a third of the cost. But trying to get the doctors in the community and the employees in the community to engage in that it's difficult. It takes time.
So will you show us that option when you come back with these benchmarks and this
Sure.
primary?
Yeah,
Okay.
we can build on that, and I think by all means, we can revisit that. And because we talked about it pretty extensively and we had some meetings with the primary care clinic. They're based out of Holton. Jess, I can't remember the name of that other community that they're in. I don't know if you remember it or not.
You,
Um,
I think they're in Falls City now.
yeah,
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
No, that's great. That's wonderful. That's out of the box stuff. I like
Yep.
it.
Yep. Good. For sure.
Okay. Any more questions?
I think so. All right now.
Do you have any more for us?
I don't think so, but we've enjoyed the discussion.
Yes, thank you very much for your time.
I'm glad you enjoyed. I think it's interesting. It's overwhelming, a lot of numbers there, but you're the pros and we look forward to seeing you again. And the information you have, I think will help us make a better choice. So I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
For sure.
Yep.
Well, we hope you have a great rest of your day and we'll stay connected.
Okay, right on. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Thanks for catching that on that one too.
Yeah, I don't have diabetes, so I can people I do also.
One of those you're born with, right?
Type 1 is not really, a lot of times not related to your lifestyle, it's usually bred.
Yeah.
It's children and young adults, it's they jobs and.
Yeah.
Regulations.
Yeah.
That's what, if you're type 2, that's the goal. Getting it. So I'm not sure if she meant, when she said for diabetes, if she meant pre-diabetic or if that's just diabetic, so yeah. But we don't know if it's.
Sure. Sure, this is delicate stuff. It just was right there. And so I was trying to understand too, when I read this, it says this total is 66. Isn't that the total number of people in the plan or is that the,
Yeah, I think that's. In that employees.
that's just the total number of employees?
Okay.
It doesn't include family members. Okay, now
There's some departments, that's younger,
that makes sense.
and what we ran into years ago, and we'll talk about it. You know, I'm sure it's what could possibly do something different. You want obviously the younger and you want dependents because the dependents and everybody else.
The average age. Yeah. I just keep wondering if a person could tailor some sort of program that, you know, give people more options. It sounds like some night either in or you're out. And that doesn't
Yeah,
seem to
we
be.
ran into that too. I know like when Dale, Beach's, county commissioner, they turned 65, so it wasn't on our insurance, wanted to have what the plan B or whatever. So there was some issues that they ran into with that. So I think you have to have a county plan when people are on. Not sure, but
Yeah.
it makes sense if you could do that, but if you did that, then you'd have. Obviously, younger people deciding, well, I don't need this or this, and then brings it, so.
Yeah, everybody, young people drop off. The people that are helping don't need it.
They seem, I mean, I've been impressed so far.
See, they answer the question I have.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Okay. Think for some people that don't use it at all, but we seem like we ought to be able to reward them somehow. Not that it's, I guess if you look at the other side, it's pretty penalizing the people to do, but you want to,
Yeah, 'cause when you need it, you need it. I mean, there's people that,
Sure.
have been healthy in 1 year.
Yeah.
They get cancer or something like that.
Right.
It's-
Yeah,
Right.
you don't think much about health insurance until you're sick and you're in the hospital and they're cutting on you, you know? It makes a big difference. Okay, so 10 o'clock, you got something?
I might, before we start at 10, I've got a meeting with Kick Through, have a new social service director.
Okay.
Meeting with her at 10:30, so we set down for that. I don't think there was anything that I saw.
Just one thing, we're hearing a lot about tax sale. Can you give an update on the tax?
So yeah, tax sale is, I mean, we filed it, obviously, you guys authorized filing, we filed it, there are several governmental entities, you know, IRS and others, so you have to extinguish liens that other creditors have, and so. Right now, those are all being served, we're waiting for, because it's all over the country, so we have to send it to DC, has to be served on the Deputy Attorney General. If they don't waive personal service, and you have to have somebody there do personal service and pay for that, so we're still in the process of getting everybody served so that the answer time start from, so. I'd love to give people a date, it just depends on how quick sheriffs all over the country are serving people. Once we get those back and if they show not able to serve, not, all of that, that's when we do the publication. Notice of the petition, and then that triggers the answer time. So
So there's no way.
no, I mean, and when people ask, when's it gonna happen, you can't predict it because if somebody files an answer to contest it, then we have to have a trial on the actual tax sale. So I told people, I mean, if we can have one this fall, that'd be great, but a lot has to fall into place. It's outside our control. For that to happen.
So we've mentioned, Treasurer mentioned these other companies, I talked to you about that, but the outside companies, how do they work through all this?
Although the same one, I mean, they, same thing, they're gonna have to serve people personal service, so it does a shortcut to it. It's just, that's the nature of the beast.
Is there anything we can do as a county commission? It seems we've got a lot of people that are in arrears on property tax, multiple. And I kind of understand the process. And do we ever drop taxes? Do they ever get this? And then say they pay their.
The state has to do that, I think so, like, ad valorem taxes, the only way to extinguishing those through tax sale.
So I guess what I'm getting at is, it seems like there's some folks that have this system figured out.
Oh.
And they don't pay their tax.
And so.
And so that the rest of us that are paying, we just gotta pay ours.
The penalty there is that they end up having to come in and pay a redemption, so when it goes, once we file a petition, then if somebody's in arrears. They have penalty, I mean, it's not a wise decision, but you have penalty, interest, and then redemptions. So the cost of our tax on, keep in mind, most of the, the time frame of delay, I know people like to call me up and ask what we're doing. We had to wait on title work for multiple months, probably 10 months of title work, to go through each property and find out what things existed. So that's outside our control. And now what's outside our control is how quick sheriffs throughout the country are getting people served, because there's a lot of like mortgage companies, and so if a mortgage company goes under or is bankrupt, then you have to find out who their successor entity is, and you have to serve them. So yeah, whoever does them runs into the same.
Have you ever just go with what you had? If you just said, I'm gonna have a tax sale on October 1st, whatever, man, then you just go with what I
Now,
have.
because the judge is the one that issues that, yeah, the judge, so the judge is the one that authorizes the sale, so when you file, it's a massive. Petition, I mean, there are hundreds of defendants, and so that's in district court, so it's already pending in district court. And then all the waiting at this point is everyone that's a defendant, hundreds of defendants, all have to be served either personally by the sheriff, by certified mail, or by publication. I can't do publication until we have sent it to the personal service or certified mail. So we've sent out massive amounts of certified mail. I've been doing this with one staff, and Brady Marcy is the only one, so on top of filing. Criminal, child abuse cases, journal entries and all of that, she's managing that as well as I am on service and keeping track of certified mail and all that type of stuff. So yeah, I mean, the next one, if they want to do an outside in, that saves me work. If they want to do something like that, maybe take a percentage, but that's where it's at. We're just waiting to see when the answer times are going to come. So the government has 60 days, federal government. There are some up to 6 months. If that's the case, that's the time we may hold on to that property and not proceed. So we can dismiss a piece of property. So if it's something going to be very complicated or it's going through bankruptcy, those are the ones we may pull from the tax sale.
Is there anything structurally in Brown County that makes us unique to facilitate people not paying property tax? Is there anything we can change?
The only thing that makes us unique is that, and I don't want to get into too much detail on that, but we do have some entities that we lack civil jurisdiction in, and so.
If you exclude that, is there anything the commission can do? No, I mean, we don't have a policy here that says, well, yeah, you.
I mean, if you want to have policy where we will pay a private entity every year or something like that, I mean, we do it more often than neighboring. I know some neighborings have multiple years, but.
When was our last setting?
I couldn't say. Yeah, sure.
So we're, I mean, we're a few years back, that's, all right.
And it completed itself right after that.
We sort of need to, I mean, in my opinion, we need to clean this up and it's a lengthy process.
Oh,
Can we, so can we engage the services of one of these companies while you're working on one food?
sure, sure.
You can do that.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, if we said we want to go next week and engage one of these people, we could, and it wouldn't.
Well, I mean,
overlap, but what do you?
I don't know if they have much to do right now because we have filed massive lawsuit on everything up through when the title
Okay.
people did it, which was last year. So to be eligible, it has to be non-paid for 3 years.
So you're on top of everything that's
Yeah, up through last year. when
with
the
your
title
current
came.
case.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
But, and I also tell people, because I used to get the question of the city attorney too, was on the tax sale, I think they think that magically will take care of everything. It doesn't. I mean, for instance, importantly, there are multiple properties from the last tax sale that don't sell. And unfortunately, most of these properties aren't going to sell, they just stay in limbo until somebody. I mean, most commonly, the neighbor will come in and say, I've been mowing it, can I just buy it for $1 and get it back on tax roll? And say, yeah, I'll sell it to you for $10 is what I think the number is, so. That's the way it happens, but there are multiple properties from the last 3 tax sales that have ever
They
sold.
don't sell.
Yeah,
All right.
that's, the majority do not sell. And so it doesn't, I mean, those still remain like that, so it's not gonna solve issues about mowing assessments and things like that, so state lots of really aren't gonna sell.
But if they sell for $10, do they wipe the taxes or do you have to pay?
It'll extinguish the taxes from the date, and it's a specific date from when we filed the petition, so. In other words, if somebody bought something on this tax sale, it would most likely go, the court would get like 2023 beyond, and in 2024, they'd be responsible for. So when people get caught up in special assessments are not extinguished.
All right.
By the tax sale, that has to happen to the county, the city, then assess them. Have to wait, and most do, because their goal is to get back on tax.
Oh, well,
They usually pay, they've always paid themselves, because we've had some large properties. That have been on there, and just one of those, usually will pay the cost of having the tax sale.
okay.
So,
Kudos to you for remembering all
I
that.
don't know, it's a fun thing.
Okay, all right. It's 10:01.
All right.
Thank you very much. Welcome. I see your K-Camp insignia, so would you like to come on up?
Sure.
I'm doing very well. How are you?
Doing well also.
Find you here.
My name is Patrick Smith.
Lucas.
Nice to meet you.
All right.
I am the risk manager at K-Camp and
What kind of manager?
risk manager.
You didn't trip on your way in here or anything.
Nah,
Good.
I'm
Good.
I always look at safety. I look at fire extinguishers, make sure they're. So, David had asked me to come up here because I think he met with one of you guys.
I talked to him on the phone.
Oh, okay. You guys wanted to make sure that you were doing everything.
Everything we can to get our premium or our contributions,
Yes,
you know,
yes,
as
yes.
low as possible.
So I was just gonna go over like an overview of everything.
Okay.
There's
We are
like-
we are one commissioner short. He had to leave early.
Oh,
Do you
okay.
have an extra one
I
of these?
sure do.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So I have that overview page right there.
Uh-huh.
That,
You want one of these? Okay.
oh,
She said, no.
yeah.
Well,
Thank you. All right.
So, this is just an overview of a lot of the programs and services that we do have at K-Camp to help reduce any type of loss liability. The first one, Attorney Assist. It looks like you guys have been using the Attorney Assist when I looked at the utilization report. So, I mean, that's just a service that gives you free unlimited advice,
So you keep
legal
track of it.
advice. Oh, yeah.
I've called him time or two, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we get a usage report of a lot of the services
Okay.
that our members are using, and this is the main one that you guys seem to be utilizing very well, so. Already taking advantage of that. as I can see, it gives a lot of free legal advice regarding property loss and liability. So if you have any more concerns about employment laws, employee practices, or inmate treatment, things of that nature, it's a good idea to go ahead and contact our employee or our attorney assist. Or if you have anything that you believe may lead toward a claim, you can go ahead and consult with our attorney assist program with that as well. So contract reviews, K-Camp does review contracts. If you have any questions on any contract that you may be doing, we can make sure that all the terms are being covered. I know a lot of our members do special events. We can make sure that all the proper insurance or indemnity that's required for vendors, that they have all that taken care of, and make sure that everything is going to be covered. So the eRisk Hub is a platform that you can use to, they have sample policies, cyber policies, giving you information about cyber attacks. They have latest phishing alerts. I'm pretty sure the IT people are all over this, but you want some type of backup, this is a good little platform also to go ahead and look at. And if you want to update some cyber policies, you can utilize a lot of the policies that they have available to you guys right here. And the KnowBe4 is another cyber system that if you want to, I guess, change whatever type of cybersecurity that you already have, you can use this. It is 25% discount because they partner with K-Camp. It's just something that you can go ahead and look at if you were looking to change whatever system that you have right now, whatever.
Okay.
Fleet safety policies. These are just policies on our website that you can utilize, the sample policies. I know a lot of the questions I was getting was, are we allowed to let a DUI person drive the member vehicles? Well, if you don't have, I always ask them, do you have a policy for it? And they normally it'll be like, I don't really have a set policy. You can go ahead and look in this. They usually have a lot of policies that you can utilize to update your existing policies, or you can just incorporate the whole policy and tailor it to fit whatever it is that you want to incorporate.
So if we had somebody that had a DUI on their record, they were working for us, does that make our liability costs go up?
No, it wouldn't make yours go up, but if you have a set policy, we want to make sure that you guys are addressing the whole, hey, this person had a DUI and you guys didn't do anything to him kind of thing, because then it does become an issue, liability. So it's just covering your tail for the most part.
Do we have a policy? Should we have one?
Yes.
We should have.
Should have.
Okay. So will we put that in our personnel handbook, that type of policy?
You
Is that
can't.
what you mean? Do you mean,
There might be one that. No, I don't have,
I'm on board with it now, but we need to look it up.
Oh, yeah. And they have a lot of policies in there that you can tailor it to your organization.
So if I look under this fleet safety, if I get on your website, and look under there, you'll have some pre-written, ready to go. type.
Pretty much on everything regarding driving a vehicle.
Okay. Okay. I do things the old fashioned way and I just scribble on my.
Oh, I do too.
Yeah.
I have a lot of paperwork in my vehicle right now. That's what it is. So,
And the longer I'm a commissioner, the bigger the pile is, you know that?
oh, yeah.
Okay, fleet management.
Yeah.
I'll check that out.
Yeah. I've been here 6 months, so I have a lot of paper all over. So,
About 6 months too.
oh, wow. Okay. Well, we're doing this together then.
You guys got long ways to go.
Well, when I started, they was like, just throwing me to the wolves, like, hey, here you go, go ahead. I'm like, okay, I'm just trying to make it mine a little bit, but
Sure.
not a lot of training. So if you guys have questions that I don't know, I will get back to you on some things.
So, question, are each of these things, are they all covered or each one a separate cost?
Well, these are all covered under K-Camp, the attorney assist, contract review, E-Risk Hub. Of course, the know before is a separate program that you'd have to get with that.
That company.
Yeah, that company, but it is a 25% discount since they partner with us. Now, the next one's the jail and law enforcement model policies and procedures and Kansas legal-based jail guidelines. Those are separate from, they're with K-Camp, but they'll have a separate cost.
Okay,
And-
it says that their members pay a separate fee.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so Ed Harbin, who's our retired sheriff, but he is the point of contact for these right here. That basically they'll give you a lot of sample policies and keep you up to date on the latest laws that they have. And they have a bunch of webinars that they'll do. They just did one recent about mental illness in the corrections facilities, but that nature, and how to take care of that and avoid liabilities and things of that nature. Like I said, there is a separate cost for that, but Ed Harbin, his information is on our website, or if you contact me, I can get it to you when I get back to the office. But his information, his contact information is on the website. It is a good resource to have to ensure that you're doing everything to avoid any type of liability in the corrections setting or law enforcement, because especially the jails, those are like our most claims that we get and the biggest claims. So a lot of good information for that.
Maybe we're already using that, huh?
I don't know, yeah. Sheriff was here, now he's gone. You could ask him.
I didn't see that on.
We don't use it, okay. Okay,
Property risk assessments, we do have our claims adjusters that come out, they'll do assessment on any type of damage that might, weather damage or anything like that. We'll make sure that guys are getting the proper information on what kind of hazards maybe from whatever breakdown or.
have they done the thermal imaging of the electrical panels? We've done that. We need to ask for all that.
Yeah, I think you need to ask for all that. I didn't see this in the utilization report also, but I know that usually when we'll have our appraisers come around and look at a lot of the buildings from the members, they'll contact our claims adjusters. So I don't know if our appraisers have come and done that yet. They come around every 4 years.
On March 31st, 2025. Is that right? On the appraisal? Yeah,
Oh, okay.
like they did it here pretty recently.
Okay. On that, I'd probably have to direct you to our claims adjuster.
Okay, that's fine. Just thought I'd ask. I read that. I thought that's interesting.
Mhm.
Okay,
So our roof maintenance program, this is like a big one also because a lot of people don't realize how old their roofs are or if they need to have some type of repairs done to them. K-Camp always recommends that you have a maintenance program so that you have a clear understanding of things like convective storms and how to reduce the type of claims or liabilities regarding those type of incidents that may occur. You can use whatever type of roofing company, but K-Camp also partners with Stanfield Roofing. That gives you a 40% discount on their services for inspections, and they'll create a roof management program for you guys where they go and look at your roofs, tell you what type of roof it is, what type of condition that you have on the roof, and then let you know how old the roof is so that you get the most coverage for whatever claim that you put in
I
on
think we-
this.
We were,
in
I thought,
process, maybe?
I thought they were going,
Yeah, we're in process with Stanford. We are.
That's a good deal.
but we haven't talked to them
We
yet.
haven't talked to them, but we're in process of getting them in front of us to tell us about what they offer. What they.
Oh, okay.
So,
Danfield?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay, great.
Yep.
That's a good deal then.
We went to a conference, this K-Camp conference in January, and they talked about a lot of this stuff. And so we're go-getters here, and we thought maybe we could try and take you up on the things you offer to save the county, some money, basically try to do better, the best job we can.
Most definitely.
And we do have a lot of buildings with a lot of roofs. and they have, some of them have quite a bit of age on them.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
getting old.
Yeah.
So-
Well, I mean, and this is why we're trying to advertise this also
Yeah.
because, you know, we want to make sure that you guys are able to budget accordingly so that you take care of any type of minor issue or they become major, or
Right.
if you know down the future you're gonna need a roof, then you're able to budget accordingly. So,
That makes sense. It
Yeah.
makes perfect sense. So,
Yeah.
so thank you. Okay, sorry to cut in there. Go
no,
ahead.
no, you're
Go ahead.
totally fine, totally fine. So, sample employee handbooks, K-Camp does have a sample employee handbook that you can we can send out to you to incorporate in your organizations, or if you would like to just update your existing employee policies. We can go ahead and get that to you. I don't know if we've sent one out already to you guys.
We got a good one here, yeah.
Oh, okay.
This one's very thorough.
Well, they like for you to update it, I guess, every 3 years. Make sure that
That's revised.
Well, but that was just,
Oh,
like when you change a salary schedule or something, and that's revised, right?
that's true.
I mean, I don't think, you didn't go through the whole thing and, well, we kind of went through. Well, yes, sorry. Yes, we did.
Well, I mean, if you want to update anything else, I mean, we have employee handbook, a sample handbook. Sure. It's constantly updated all the time.
But you have that. Is that right? We probably should go through
I
that.
mean, if not, I can go ahead and send that.
Why not?
So should let you guys go with it.
Well, you said something with the DUI thing. We need to be thinking about that. I don't think we're ahead. We need to get ahead of that. You know,
Yeah,
that's real.
I agree.
So,
I agree.
and if we don't have to come up with it ourselves, because somebody already did the hard work by putting the words together, we are glad to just
And
steal that and use it as our own.
tailor it also
Yeah.
to fit whatever it is that the policies also in your employee.
I like it. Okay.
So our mineral HR, I think you guys are using that service also, right?
Did it cost you enough?
No, it doesn't cost, it's with taking out, but you have to get administrative access, basically. So I can give you administrative access to that. If that's something that you need. Basically, it just gives you a lot of resources regarding human resources and compliance questions. It has a bunch of policies regarding human resources and compliance. It also has an employee handbook builder where you can go ahead and build your handbook or tailor it to what you want in your organization as well.
Would it
So,
help us with employee evaluation?
yes, yes. It has sample policies on training. With that, it has you can talk to live consultants if you have questions about, you know, it can be HIPAA also, or any type of workplace violence, or any other unnecessary behaviors in the workplace.
Okay.
It has policies on that, and you can talk to the HR professional that has training also, training on workplace violence, harassment, discrimination, all kinds of things.
So if we take part in some of that training, does that help us on our contribution side, or is that more? just-
Yeah, I was gonna get to that here because there's a whole another
So our
incentive
HR
based.
department is right over there, and she, I mean, I'm correct, right? Okay, so they do this, and it's, our HR is a little bit, because I mean, the commission has the authority, right? But you're the, tell me how it works. Explain the system to me is the best way. But we rely on you a lot to tell us about those. So it's a little bit disjointed. So would they have some ideas to make it a little more streamlined?
Yes, well, like I said, there's the HR professionals that you can talk to and they can give more insight
Okay.
on how to go about doing that more than I could. Actually, but I mean, you're able to talk to these professionals at any time,
All right.
so.
And that's all part of the service. We're already paying the bill.
It's all part of the service. I just have to be the one to give you the administrative access because whoever is an administrator can actually have access to calling those people and I guess giving out whatever type of training to the employees. If you're requiring some type of human resource training or compliance. They can be the ones to assign all this training to allow the employees. And it can be any department leader that wants the administrative access. So they can go ahead and assign it to their employees, but the, discrimination, everywhere. So they can be in like Road and Bridge, they can have somebody have administrative access there or law enforcement. We can give it to any type of department leader, and then they can assign training to their employees if they're requiring training in certain topic.
Okay. If we wanted to use it for employee evaluation, you can theoretically do it the same. Give the department heads administrative access, and you may have a pre-populated evaluation form and you just fill it out.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, they'll have sample forms in there, they'll have sample policies, they have a lot of sample everything, so.
Oh, well, that's news to me anyway. That's neat.
Yeah.
So, human resources is very complex.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. That's why we offer this service right here.
So why do they call it mineral HR?
I'm not sure about the mineral part, but HR, I can only tell you it's mainly human resource and compliance.
Okay.
Okay,
So
wonderful, wonderful.
that's what it is, though.
And will you reach, I guess. We
Oh,
have your
if-
contact
if you guys,
information, so we got it.
Yeah, if you guys let me know the names of the people that you want to have administrative access, I can go ahead and send that out to our point of contact and make
Okay.
sure that those people get administrative access.
We can kind of
HR.
go into that and see what it looks like.
Okay.
And maybe people will really enjoy it. I know the evaluation part, I bring that up again. Is there, we have policies for that, but they're pretty random. And I think the gaps between evaluations, go in both directions, actually. Is too big. I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Part of that, some of the other boards I've been on, we did it once a year. I mean, we just made a habit of doing employee evaluation, employee evaluation. So people can't learn, they can't grow, they can't fix things if they don't know. So,
Good. Yeah, they'll have a lot of information,
sure, wonderful. Thank you.
make it more clear and concise.
We like that.
So, K Camp Online University. I can't remember if it's one anymore, but I got to use it, but in any case, K Camp Online University gives you a wide range of training regarding everything, basically, law enforcement, corrections, EMT, firefighters, human resource, and pretty much anything that you can think of. K Camp Online University has a training for it.
Okay.
This is another one that I can give you admin access. It's covered under K Camp also, but they have a online catalog of all the services and training that they have available for training courses. And John D'Angelo is our point of contact on that one. He also has webinars on our website. Whenever we have a webinar, we usually post it on our website. So you can go ahead and look at that. Also, it gives information on how to go about assigning the training courses to your employees and how to navigate through K Camp Online University's website. So it's another good resource to have also. They're requiring some of your employees to be trained in a specific area. So our Rhodes Scholar tuition reimbursement is basically they reimburse a portion of the cost of $50 per employee on courses under the Campus Rhodes Scholar program. Usually a lot of our road bridge people assign to take this course for the most part, but anybody can do that. So
I don't think we do much of it.
okay, well, anybody can still take these courses, right?
Are they courses you offer or are they courses that I mean, does KCAM offer these courses specifically, or they just?
It's a Kansas Road Scholar Program, basically. So
That's an
basically, it's
actual-
kind of like a partnership that will reimburse up $50 if,
So is
of
Road
the
Scholar,
cost.
is that a state program then?
Yes.
Okay, like KDOT? Is that
Yeah,
part? Okay,
yeah.
all right. Interesting.
So sometimes a lot of the costs will be like $45. And it'll cover the whole thing, but whatever the cost may be, K Camp will reimburse $50.
Okay.
Just need to make sure we get all the people's names that took it and information on who passed the course and things of that nature.
So for employees, is it informational here, or do you work for some sort of accreditation if you complete these courses? Is there a graduation level that the?
You get a
Road Scholar-
certificate.
Your certificate.
Yeah, you'll get a certificate showing that you completed it.
Okay, interesting.
So another one also is our defensive driving course. Okay. Yeah. And that's another thing where, I don't know if it's on my overview, but it's another thing that we offer also to our
You give
members.
it. We have that.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Gives you more information on there,
But
but
that'd be good for the, say, law enforcement also.
yes, everybody that
Everybody.
is required to drive their vehicle, they can't recommend that it's a driving course.
Okay.
And when you get your certificate from that, you're able to take that to your personal insurance and get a discount. So it's more of an incentive.
All right.
Also,
Nice. Plus you get paid to go to class, right?
yes,
During business hours.
yeah, there you go. So it's good, it's another good deal.
So a class like that, a defensive driving class, it's live classroom training, which I mean, take that to me in person, right? And 2.5 hours per class, so are you driving or are you just?
No,
Not at all.
It's just
Just sit down.
basically, we give PowerPoint presentation on a lot of things that are coming up that you're aware of when you're driving.
Okay, is there a minimum to have a class then? I'm trying to see.
No, we don't have a minimum. I know see, I'm getting certified right now, actually.
Okay.
It's a driving training.
Okay,
But I've gone to a few of them and we had one where we had it was 8 or 9 people there.
Okay.
They're usually about 20 to 30 people. For the
so
most
just
part.
trying to figure out how to schedule this. Would it work? If we were interested in doing something like this, just pick on the road and bridge, because would you try to pick a day, in the winter when there's not much going on and we can just sit down in the office and they do their thing? Okay.
If you have the people that are available at a certain amount of time, that more people are available at this time, then
Okay.
you could do that. Or we've done them like twice in one day where we'll do one session in the morning or we'll do another session or afternoon time.
So we could set it up that anyone in the county that has to drive as a part of their county job, we could set up a day or 2 days, whatever, to get everybody
Yeah.
there. Just say, hey, come during one of these windows.
Kind of whatever fits you guys' schedule, because we've done, like I said, we've done, 2 in one day, or we've done like this, we've done one this day, and then the next day we'll do it another day where it's at this time. So we can come back, do it, day by day or
And
week by week.
does that come with a pretty good incentive as far as K-Camp, to have that class? Does that come with a savings potential?
Yeah, it's something that they require, basically. Well, they would like or recommend, I'll say that.
Okay.
And just to make our drivers aware of the cautious that they around. Like we get a lot of road and bridge people that hit deer, law enforcement, they'll hit deer, they're EPs when they're traveling on dark roads, they hit deer. We want to make sure that everybody's aware of that. And I guess it makes them more cautious of people and animals, so if they come or potentially running the road or something.
All right.
Got a question do we have is there not something we make them take online already or?
Right, like in work, saving the thing. That's the
paperwork.
Okay.
All right, excellent.
Uh,
We'll explore that too.
Okay, so the risk avoidance grant. I think you guys do participate in that, the risk avoidance grant. I don't think it's fit this year. But the risk avoidance grant is something that we set aside $2,000 for all of our members annually to reimburse them for whatever purchase of a product or service that they use to help reduce the risk of property loss liabilities. So a lot of it, grill guards or cameras for the vehicles or cameras for courthouse. Big stairwell or stair rails.
Sure,
Things of that nature.
sure.
Anything that's gonna prevent any type of property loss liability.
Okay.
It's this grant. It's usually first come, first served basis, so a department comes and fills out the application and they give it to me and I can get funds right back to them. Or, what happens is a lot of people do department meetings. During the department meeting, they'll discuss, hey, law enforcement's gonna use the risk avoidance grant this year, or road and bridge or fire is gonna be using it this year, kind of thing. So
Okay.
we usually discuss on when they're gonna use it. But that's another incentive also.
Okay.
So our risk avoidance or risk management achievement and excellence award is the one where basically all this criteria right here, if you're doing all this criteria, you can basically get reimbursed a portion of your contributions up to 6%. So if you're doing like everything on here,
50%.
yes,
6.
up to 6%, yeah. Now it kind of varies also because of how many members are gonna be trying to do this now. It's kind of going up. Like we used to have like 9 members, now I think this year it's 13 members or whatever. Kind of depends on how they'll divide out all the funds.
Sure.
But it's still possible.
So there's more interest amongst counties in trying to take
Yeah,
advantage.
yeah.
Everybody's trying to save a nickel.
Yeah, it's coming up gradually.
Okay.
Like last year it was 9 people, 9 members. Now it's 13.
So do you have to meet, which ones are you meeting here to qualify for that?
So there's if you look on the sheet that I gave you, I can't remember what it's like. Either way, there's like on there's like a level 1.
You know what? Find it, I
You
can
can see it. See where it's how I had it in.
my memory serves, we're over 200,000 in the KK. That's our contributions. It's a pretty big number, 6% of that, yeah, it'd be 12,000 bucks.
Okay, I don't have it, sorry. But I will, I'll send it to you guys. In any case, there's like there's a level 1 where you complete like after services, so to speak. Oh, okay, thank you.
Look at that.
See? Oh, it was in yours. Oh, sorry, I didn't put it in. All of them.
Oh, right.
So it's like if you complete this amount of criteria and it all has to be like 1%, then you'll get 1 to 3%. If you complete all of the criteria, then you'll get 4 to 6% of contribution. So it's like all of this, if you only did like all of this right here, then you're just gonna get probably 3%. But if you're able to complete everything on here, then possibility is 4 to 6%.
Okay, well, we may be doing some of that already.
Yeah, you probably are more than likely.
Okay. And some things I have no
And
idea.
then, it just basically depends on how much you're doing and then how much percentage that you'll get back.
All right. All right, but other than just monetary, the benefits is, we should have the education and understanding that we've gone through the program, hopefully. And the programs, I'm sure, are designed, they're interactive. I'm sure you want questions and not just, you said PowerPoint, but you're just gonna talk to people and give them a chance for questions and things like that. Yeah, okay. So the reason I bring it, sometimes we go to meetings or have presentations just for the sake of having a presentation. But you're looking for something
Yeah, we're looking to reduce any
Yeah.
type of property loss and liability.
Okay.
For the most part, we know we can't, prevent all property loss because, we live in this weather.
It gets
It gets
wild.
crazy
Yeah,
around here,
yeah.
but the ones that we can prevent, and you guys are taking the necessary steps to prevent any type of property loss and liabilities, we want to make sure that we're trying to give back and reward you
Okay,
for your efforts in reducing the risk of property loss and
Okay.
liabilities.
excellent.
And if you have any questions, I got my card right there.
I see
in the,
that.
Folder. You can contact me anytime and I can give you more information on whatever the question is that you may have, or I can send you to somebody that may know what you may be looking for.
Okay, so you're our risk management. You call it risk management?
Yeah, I'm the
You're
risk manager at
So
Cape.
did you have anything to do with the reappraisal of like county property?
No.
Not at all. Okay, so we got 25 pages of pictures and values but you would determine. Never mind. You don't have anything to do with it. That's fine. What you presented us was wonderful. An opportunity to take part in your programs and learn a little bit and maybe save some money.
Yeah,
So we ought to give it a shot.
and you guys can, if you have more questions, go ahead and let me know. And,
So- And we meet every one of these, we can get up to 3%. If we get to the bottom and we meet every one of them, we can maybe get 6%.
yes.
All right. Okay, and there's pretty clearly defined. Backup power and alarm.
And we have a lot of this information on our website also. That's like,
Community.
if you have questions on how to navigate our website, also. Maybe get you
And
the
if it's a
information.
driving training for all employees, you mean all employees that have to drive, or do you mean every employee?
No, it's mainly the ones that are required to drive a vehicle.
Okay,
And it'll be like we do a lot of law enforcement,
all right,
All
right, so
they go through the class a lot, but anybody can take the course if they want to.
Okay.
So if anybody wants to volunteer to take it, then that's fine also. We just recommend that they, if you drive a kind of vehicle, that they
take the class.
So,
All right, makes sense.
This kind of change the subject, but you said you looked for fire extinguishers. How does that affect, like a lot of these buildings? Since we insure some of the historical society buildings, and I was looking on them, some of them apparently don't have fire extinguishers in the buildings.
Yeah.
Does that make a difference on the rates or?
if there's a fire that is able to be put out before it damages everything, then yeah, it would make a difference.
But I mean, if some said that there was no fire extinguishers, but if every building looks like should have a fire extinguisher.
And that's like something that our appraisers usually come around and they address that also. So that, we can prevent that type of property loss. Because if there's a fire that's able to be put out with an extinguisher, it's gonna be a lot less claim than the whole building
Burns
going
up.
up in smoke.
Right.
So usually our appraisers are the ones that go ahead and address that issue. If you're doing like, I think part of the risk management achievement is having building inspections and making sure that, I believe that would be one of the criteria is having a recommended amount of fire extinguishers.
I think maybe I didn't go through and look, a lot of the county ones do, I think, but on these historical society ones. it doesn't
Yeah,
make
they
it-
don't, but some of them do.
Right. But I didn't know if that was something that you look for or not.
Yeah, but when we get like the reports from our appraisers, that's usually generally what we'll go off of if there's a building inspection that we look at the form and see that, hey, this needs to have an extinguisher here, then
Maybe,
look for the corrective action and make sure that it's actually getting taken care of.
maybe some of these buildings, there's not that much to burn in anyway, so, if they got a concrete floor or,
Sure. Look like at the courthouse, we have a lot.
right.
They have a lot of systems. Okay, excellent.
So any more questions because
We've learned a lot. I think we'll be in touch because you're going to reach out about this mineral HR. I want to ask the sheriff about these two with the jail guidelines. And then some of the things, like I said, we're in process, and the employee handbook would be helpful. You know,
Okay.
got a lot of good stuff.
Good. So if you guys have any more questions, go ahead and let me know. And
Well, we're glad you came out, and made time for us. Appreciate that.
not a problem.
Oh,
not a
I'm sorry I
problem.
made you work on those too.
Oh,
Should have
no.
got your way.
I got. For you guys, I'll follow you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, well, are you going back to Topeka then?
Oh, yeah, I got it actually in another spot. that
All
I
right.
Go to real quick. So,
Right on.
I try to schedule everything on.
Very
my
smart.
days.
Very smart. Yep.
So, I'm gonna head on down there.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Yep.
Okay, wonderful. Is there, looking at the agenda, wherever it was, is there any, here it is, it's under here. Yeah, it should be in here and signed.
Can I get a signature on this discussion? In our computer thing, before we have a line.
Just sign right here.
Yeah.
Sign it today, 16. Sure. Okay. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any feeling about, then the renewal of the neighborhood revitalization? And the. Running that process of what, having a little more.
You mean, are we going to do it or not? So I think yes,
So.
that's mine.
I'd say no.
Bill says no, so we're 50-50. So the more I learn about neighborhood revitalization, but you go.
Let's go ahead.
More I learn about it. So it's a program to stimulate economic development by throwing a little nugget for people that, hey, if you build this, we'll refund, we basically won't charge you for
Right.
what you build. But in 5 years, we will. And so I think, well, maybe if we did a better job of advertising that long term, it might be a boom for the county, because we're not losing anything. We're just trying to encourage people with a little property tax rebate to actually improve their lot. What do you think?
I guess my thing is, there's some areas that that really need help,
Mhm.
but maybe there's other areas that don't.
So Mr. Markham thought about that, and he mentioned that. Do we
Right.
need to will he play a role in that as far as, he may know some areas that, are not blighted. And maybe we need to restrict it a little.
Sure, get out.
Well, and then, like, we're talking about fixing up the Hefford, and people are fixing up the front of the buildings. There's some problems in the back of the buildings, my son does some brickwork,
Sure.
and are these buildings gonna need work at, it's not being done? Because
Because
they don't have money to do it. But maybe this would help them get it done if they,
there would be a financial, I think. If you do basic maintenance on a building, say you need a brickwork because your exterior wall is sloughing off, they're not shouldn't be, I don't think they charge you for basic maintenance. Like if you put a roof on, I'm very certain Steve has said that. We don't raise your taxes because you put it in.
right, but
But if you fixed your building, the wall in your building, I don't think that may not.
that may not qualify, I don't know.
Now, if you totally redid the front of your building and put new, whatever awnings on and new, maybe that's where it would fall.
But the quality of your building should affect how much you pay for the taxes too.
True. Yeah.
So maybe, I don't know, I just think,
I had hoped to work on this NRP with Hefford. I know Michaela, she mentioned something about it. I hope she does. Seneca and Sabetha in Nemaha County have a 10-year program in the towns where I believe they reimburse 90%, I think, for 10 years. It's a different program for those two cities specifically. And it would be nice if we could tailor it a little more, they're going for economic development. It'd be neat if we could use it for that, because I think that's what it's designed.
But it looks to me like, I'm not sure I read it right, but there is a lot of tax dollars that it affects.
It just affects our portion too, because the school district doesn't take part.
Yeah. There were some that did and some didn't. I mean, it seemed like most of them did opt in, you know.
If we tell Nikki to go ahead, I mean, does that, or do you want to work on this? Are you against it some, just in total, or do you just have some ways you'd like to change?
Well, to me, it bothers me just because, well, like last week, just because they didn't quite meet the qualifications, then we're gonna cut them out. Or somebody starts working on something and they do a lot of work, but they didn't apply for it first. Why aren't they? Why don't they get a break too? I
Well,
mean,
he explained that, and that is, if they start construction, especially on a remodel, it's hard to tell when you're afraid of what's new and what's old.
what's old?
So they need a clear, that line of demarcation to move forward. So I understood that, and she got caught in the middle there, and it was kind of a gray area. So I think we did the right thing.
Right.
But this, what would be neat is we could do a neighborhood revitalization program. Man, it's hard to say. That maybe is more selective. Maybe we can target it towards certain areas. Maybe we can change some things in our towns here, just say Horton and Hiawatha, to try and stimulate some economic development, because people are, and people are good at managing their money, you know, if there's a little bit of rebate there. Maybe that would get them over the hump, you know, to make a decision. But I'd love to have some input from the economic development people about that. And Steve, you know, you did it, but and he could tell us, I bet his computer will tell us, you know, what's a blighted area and what's not.
and so might be some small areas in each city or whatever.
Specific, yeah.
Some towns might be off by.
But we also need to do a better job getting it out there.
Right.
I don't know how we make that happen, if that program exists. And I won't name his name, but the one guy, I asked him about it specifically, he said, oh, I didn't know about that, and he spent a lot of money on his building, redoing it, and, you know, it would have been a significant savings, but he just had no idea the program existed. It's too late now. But sure, nobody goes to our county website. Donnie, we're picking on you. We gotta make it more, something's gotta happen there so we can draw some attention.
Yeah, we're in the middle of a lot.
Okay. Do we need to have a county Facebook page or some way? We have it. Well, okay, so that's, but does it get many likes? Or who manages it?
Well, we have, yeah.
Every department?
Yeah, around.
You two, okay, you and Dallas. All right.
Might be the election one.
Well, maybe something needs to go out in the tax bills that,
I don't know, just.
I mean,
you
that's
can make
gonna
more of it.
get everybody. I mean, everybody gets a tax bill.
Nobody reads your man.
Well, or when you get the statement that shows what you owe,
Yeah,
you read that part of it.
well, by then,
Maybe.
you're so mad you don't want to read anything else.
Right.
All right, okay. So can we safely say we want to pursue the NRP?
Look into it, brother.
And do we need to reach out to Michaela? Okay. And maybe send something to Horton too, to their economic development, possibly. Okay. All right.
And then that packet
Yeah,
has every,
I saw that.
is there anything on where people work stuff and thing and have a big cost or I need to ask you?
So when you asked earlier in the meeting about if we looked at the work session, the answer was because I hadn't, because I thought that was the checklist of, you know, what we've been running down the back. Is that on the back of the agenda?
Yeah. But then, and to add, like, in the next meeting.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we can check the NRP off. Southwest Road west of Tipping area. employee evaluations, we're talking to, I mean, we're making progress on
I
that.
did put all the standard.
Okay. This defining objectives, that's something we do need to do, and I think we kind of need to do that on our own, maybe, Bill, and then bring it to the meeting. This is that when we
Oh,
talked to
management
Richard.
consultant and Delana Beckers.
Yeah,
Okay.
And I had mine written down in my notebook there, but we need to come with that and then talk about that in another work session. I did talk about the tax sale today, but I think we just need to keep bringing it up. The roof maintenance program we've already done, auditor switch, I'm not sure.
So the roof maintenance, is that guy coming?
Yeah, it's in process.
Okay.
Yeah. Where, it's doing a hard last year. When there's a way through. We go for that. I know they did the last business. But it's something. I don't know.
The actual audit, the Lloyd group does that also?
And, but they couldn't do it last, because the office.
Okay, so one of the things we learned, we should have the same person help us with the budget and does the audit.
Well, in that case, do you? See it, or, John. Okay, that's what it's about. Then I don't know.
I wish I knew that answer. I'm not sure. I would love to see an audit. But we don't have authority over like the township, correct? So we couldn't have an audit of all these things that we have our hands on, but not. Can we do that? I mean, after we went through those records earlier or later in winter, whatever it was, earlier this year. I mean, there's so much gray area there.
We look at something, doesn't come from,
Yeah, I think so.
I don't want to. Have a handbook.
What seems to be a struggle, with you, anyway, working with me, trying to get signatures and everything. It'd be neat to have a little better handle on that, what we can do.
So the townships aren't responsible for the roads, or the counties are responsible for the roads, then the townships don't. I mean, that's a big part of what the townships do. What else do the townships do besides the roads? I don't know.
Fire protection, it's part of it.
Yeah, part of it.
What else do they do? Any library? Maybe library, some of them do. Yeah. I'm just thinking of Washington and the things they do. And it's mainly roads,
Right. So if the county is set up so that the county takes care of all the roads, then that maybe eliminates the townships.
Well, you're taking,
Some of the responsibilities.
are you just talking about
Just
big picture? Okay, all right.
yeah, I'm not saying this will change.
My question was about, I guess mine was the auditing and, you know, to me, what an auditor does is just balances the books, right? I mean, everything in equals, and it's all. And when we saw the cemetery reports and the township reports, there was no standardization. They were so different. I thought they were difficult really to even discern. But auditors they don't go to that level unless, yeah. Okay, all right. Well, that is one thing from our K-Camp meeting. They said, you know, don't have the same person do the budget that does their audit. And as far as putting them out for bid, I'm not sure what the procedure is. But somebody needs it. So, and Rich isn't here. We can't talk about some of these other things without him. So civil engineer job description. That can probably go away. We can take that off. That was sort of my idea. I don't think we're doing anything there. This department head monthly and quarterly updates. I want to be a resource to people that work here and are involved in the county, but I don't want to be a nuisance. I mean, I'd love to hear more from people that are here, but it's hard to get them down here because I know they're busy and it's just different. And we tend to ask people a lot of questions, but that's always there if people want to come in. Yeah.
Also, we was talking about the insurance rates and all this, I was talking about that. How can we get input from the employees? I mean, if we need to cut the cost, it would be helpful to get some input from them.
On health insurance?
How we, what can we do that benefits them, or how can they help us keep the costs down?
It's a good idea.
I mean, I don't know if there is any way or not, but
Any decision we make on health insurance directs employees. I mean, just
right.
personally,
So, I mean, we wanna make it useful for them, but we also need to make it affordable for everybody else.
I think it'd be neat when we got some more numbers from Watco, because they're gonna give us some different scenarios.
Right.
It'd be wonderful to have a meeting with some employees and just see what they thought.
Yeah, that's why I was coming.
Yeah. I mean, that's a great idea. No, you're good ideas.
I don't have, all my ideas are ahead.
Yeah, I think we could put something like that together. I would really, I mean, I maybe already said that employee evaluations, I'd really love to see that happen on a more regular basis. It nips a lot of things, you know, brings a lot of things out. But I still don't know what the road west of the tipping area, solid waste road west, is that the? That's right. So what Don has at the landfill is the current C and D dump is a dirt road. And then the approach to the tipping floor, when it gets muddy, or wet, is a mud mess. So he was gonna work with Road and Bridge to get some rock hauled in to the tipping floor. But the road to the C and D dump is part of that crisis management plan that he had, a storm management plan. You remember the road, the map? You know?
Right.
So we need to figure out how we can get. He'd like to have the commission as part of that storm management plan. And that's not the right word. Go ahead and start and lay that gravel to the C and D and have the commission pay. Part of that. Man,
What was it? That road that went around the tipping floor, that didn't go to the C and D though, did it?
no, that's part of the new construction. But it's also part of this storm management circle, because it comes in, I think it makes a big circle in and out.
But that wasn't, this construction they're doing, that didn't cover that, did it?
Say it again, ask that question again.
The new building project didn't cover that road coming behind that thing.
West, that's
That's ours. So we just need to grade that up and then haul a rock on it.
and we're gonna have to find the money to pay.
The time and it takes, I don't know how much. Don't have any idea how many of those are all good.
I don't, you'd have to have the guy check it out. The tubes are there, the drainage is in place, they've done that, it should just be grading and dumping some base rock in. But he would like, again, so when it rains, they shut the CD pit down, and then they get it back on, because if people come with a load of CD, then they just dump it in the tipping floor, and then it really gets them backed up. So I know he'd like to move on the road to the CD pit.
Yeah, so that'd be important. So the same deal, you just need to grade, or you just need to haul off on the thread.
We just need to haul around, basically.
So.
How about this? How about I call Dawn and see how many loads of rock he thinks he needs to get to that C and D pit? And we can have the actual information.
So can you get rock like that from Troy, or where do we get rock like that from? You know, sound like Grimsland making rock anymore.
There's asphalt. I don't know where I can match them. So that's whatever.
So like, if you wanted to do the summer, if you got a rainy day or something, you could.
Yeah.
You know, get hauled off on a rainy day, but it's way from.
Because it's wet, yeah, you know, you're right. Well, when they get their chip seal done, they could take care of it, or maybe they'd have some downtime. Well, when that oiler was, or the distributor truck was busted last week, they may have a day. Okay, I'll call Dawn, long conversation, I'll call Dawn, see what it takes to get. And we can talk about that next week.
Okay.
So we have an idea on that, or I'll get that taken care of. It needs to wait. It needs to wait.
And then Bill, you're just your third one to advertise someone for the assistant position or. Before he takes off, we need some to that. Do we don't put that out
don't think so. I mean, I don't know. I don't think I got an employee that's qualified. So. I don't know that a new employee, well, unless. Move somebody from another district or something. You know, I don't know how that works.
So I'm not sure what's going on here.
Well, so we've just been having 3 employees.
Mhm.
First thing I think we could, cause we're a bigger district, we could probably afford 4 employees. Because so the way the money's allotted. But so we have 3 full-time employees now and 1 part-time. So I thought, and I don't know. Right. Yeah, so I haven't. Wondered. Well, there was before I came on, there was a time that there wasn't any foreman over there, because they wouldn't. Didn't want the foreman to go. Person was there and they didn't want to make foreman.
Okay. So you want to go from 3 employees to 4? That's
Well,
what-
not necessarily, but sometimes I've thought that might be beneficial.
Well, part of the road and bridge discussion we're having is, I guess. It's your decision, it's your district, I guess you just need to make call outs.
For now, I'm just gonna let it ride and see what.
All right. All right, well, your idea about having employees come in for that health insurance thing, that's a good one. We need to do that. They might have some input for us too. That we don't even think about. What's pay donations mean?
Yeah.
Oh, did you hear anything?
How would you want to write that? We're not, it could be in and out, like, you already took the money. But
There's no way legally just to pull that. That's what I was trying to avoid. Yeah, okay.
So what was that about?
That's when we talked about that one group who wanted to join the Kansas
Oh.
KNRC, and I thought, well,
Oh,
could I do that on my own?
okay.
It's just. But evidently I can't, I can do it on my own, but I can't use. Okay, so that we can take off the list, because now we know the answer. Cool.
So,
All right.
so. I'm not clear on it. You can't take it out of your pay and put it there. If we just wrote a check, does that work? Out of our,
Yeah. Yeah, in fact. It just.
okay,
What if during the budget process, could I amend my salary? And. You know, and then all of a sudden we'd have that money sitting there. Could I do it that way? I'm not trying to make it complicated, just save with.
my thought on that program was. When we. Allot money for economic development, maybe we should take some out of that and put it in. Of the economic development. Instead of giving them quite so much, deduct some from that and give it, pay for that. Cause I think that's an important thing. To keep our. I mean, the federal government's. Not always our friend,
Sure.
so,
I think it's important too. That's why. We'll see if we can do it this, we can do the budget thing. I think that's fine too.
Right.
Just. Anyway,
I think we ought to,
I believe we need to investigate some of the groups we're involved with. If we need to continue to be involved with them, and then there's lots of good groups out there that I think we need to look at getting involved with. And the Kansas Natural Resources Coalition, I believe, is one of them. That they're working on a project that Corvira Refuge now, and we're involved with the federal government. It's very complicated, and they seem to know what they're doing. They helped us with some other things,
and keep an eye on what the federal government, you know, I
Right.
think is really important.
Right. Okay, the burn ban resolution revision, I believe that's gonna come back up, Nikki, but it'll be more into the first of the year, probably.
I think the fire chiefs had a meeting
Well, they did,
this last week or sometime.
so it got brought up.
I think that was what it was supposed to be about.
Oh,
I just heard,
no, that's perfect. It's perfect. So the change we made, maybe they discussed it and come up with a more,
that's just what I heard.
okay, that's what you heard.
No,
The fuel cloud monthly fee,
yeah,
I don't know anything about that
but
one.
that is, so we pay a fee on that.
Mhm.
And to me, we ought to have, not every month, but on a yearly basis, figure out how much it costs to run the fuel cloud. And then disperse that over the number of gallons we.
Okay, so I do
that goes
remember
through.
this. We pay the fee as the county, but say the city is pulling fuel out of there.
Right,
And so you'd like to allocate that
to everybody that uses it.
that uses it.
So it'd be based on their use or not.
Okay, so if we did it that way, that would be a lot of, is that a spreadsheet?
Well,
Simple, or is it complicated?
I mean, if we just put so many cents per gallon for the whole year, or was that,
Self the run report, but the radio. The shovel.
So it's quite big.
so how do you do it now?
Wow. But if we had. Run it.
So if we wanted to do that in 2026, you would just add a line item on the document that you've already created. We would just add another charge. So say if City of Hiawatha uses $1,000 in fuel, it'd be $1,006 to pay for their share of the fuel plat.
Yeah, so I just want to do it again. So you look back at all this year.
So do you charge, so when you fill a barrel, say it's $2 a gallon, and then next time you fill it, it's $2.25, how do you allot?
The price is figured in.
Okay, so I guess my thought was if you just add that, what, few cents on to the price. So that, or whatever charges $2.25, if it's a 5 cent add, then you, from that time on, it'd be $2.30. If they dropped it back to $2, it'd be just
You just talk
$2.05.
about a surcharge on every gallon of fuel.
Yeah,
That's what you want to do. I mean, it sounds fine as long as it's not a bookkeeping nightmare.
so,
I can never tell by your reading. I don't want it to be a bookkeeping nightmare.
No.
It's not that.
It could be done.
Is it a significant amount of money?
or 122, I think.
As the county, we would probably use how much fuel percent? So we're using 80% of it? Ish.
Yeah, I don't remember either, but
So what?
I
This
was thinking
goes
more
back
like
to what I'm
half.
saying too, you know, is it worth doing? If it's $20 a month, that's $240 a year.
no, it's $122 a month or something.
But I was trying to do the percentage. If
Oh.
the county it's
Oh, okay.
80%.
Yeah, I'm not sure the county's that quite that much. I was thinking it was a little. But anyways, yeah, so $20, so that'd be $240, but
No pressure and no rush. But if you ever have a few minutes where you can work on this, if you come up with some way of getting reimbursement in a way that works for you. And then we can take care of it and we can scratch it off the list. that work?
Mhm.
So she could, if she can manage it and it doesn't take, what if it takes 4 hours to do $40 of work, then it doesn't
That's
make any
not-
sense.
Oh, but it should be,
Yeah.
I was thinking of it just automatic and you didn't have to.
Okay, all right. Anything else?
uh, the ambulance services contract, I was looking through that, it talks about the part of the first part or whatever is Hiawatha and Brown County, but I don't see anything in there about what Hiawatha pays. Whatever you sent out the,
I believe Kevin was working and refining that language, so we got rid of all that part of the first part stuff. Is that what you mean?
well, whatever you sent out.
What's
Huh?
You might, because I believe, yes, he said that. That was something we talked about in his office, was changing some of us.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah.
Where was that stuff that sent out anyway?
Work session topics. And the ambulance contract. at the bottom.
Okay,
And we discussed this HB 2134. That's gone. I mean, this list disappeared. Now, Donnie, we didn't talk about the shorts policy, and I'm avoiding it on purpose because I want to talk about dress code stuff in length here at some later date, okay? I don't want you to think I'm just taking the chicken egg. All right, and then I think we've done. I think that's it. I think we hit about every one of them. So I sent that document that I asked about, and I sent that to Keith, and I haven't heard anything. So, I mean, that one's not gonna go away, but it's not on the front burner. Do we have our meeting scheduled for the end of June, the basement? There's,
for the
the month
well,
end.
end of the month, we need to have the jail. We need a motion to say that.
Do we still have time?
So do you just want to do it for one month by month, or do you want to do it for longer?
Well, okay, so Rich, I mean, we talked about it like it was going, but we needed to make a motion.
So, want me to make a motion?
That's fine.
I'll move, have the end of the month meeting in the basement of the jail for the month of June
And at 5:30,
at 5:30.
and that's a Monday, I believe. Well, I'll second it. Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carried. We are gonna change. I'd like to change the agenda. And what I'd like to do is the structure of that meeting worked out very well. But we had a lot of conversation where I think we sort of lost track of what we need. I'd like to extend the public comment period time from 15 minutes at the beginning, extend it to 30. And so that gives everybody a chance to talk. But then at the end, we'll just adjourn and we won't have any more. I circle back over. And say that again.
The conversation.
We do need some guidelines. I mean, I think people did pretty well, but it was a new concept.
All right.
And we just need to,
But I think some interchange between people is good too.
I thought it was wonderful, and I don't want to discourage it, but as far as, people, we don't want to have an open-ended time. We need a little bit of time restriction, so we. So we're just,
I think as a chairman, you could control. I mean, if you think I was getting out of hand,
so here's what I.
push a lot of responsibility on
Here's
you.
what I think, okay, and I'll take it. I thought if we did a half hour at the beginning, that should give everybody plenty of time to speak.
Right.
And if we look at it and you realize, well, we got more than a half hour, I suppose you could make some adaptations, because I don't want to quench discussion. But at the end, when people want to go home, and I respect that. As long as 2 or more commissioners are in the room,
the potential for a coma violation exists. So then Nikki has to stay as our resident, official. I don't know what you say. There's a word for that I can't remember. So what I was really hoping to do is, the meeting's over, we adjourn. I'll be happy to stay, or you could stay, or Rich could stay and answer questions kind of one-on-one, but it's not the commission speaking, it's just a commissioner. And that way, everybody else can go home. You know, you can just go home. And I think would be better. Still have an opportunity to engage with the public, but the meeting's over. And everybody else leaves, but one of us stays behind.
Okay,
And I'll do it. I don't mind it. I kind of enjoy
I
it.
think you guys pretty much left it, didn't you?
I went upstairs pretty fast, yeah, to try to get out of there. Yes.
Because I stayed around a while, but
And if you want to stay, you
I
can
mean,
stay too.
I don't,
All right, but
I can.
point is, I think we've got the meeting scheduled. We're in good shape. Is there anything else we need to talk about before we adjourn? I mean, we really did well with a lot of stuff in front of us.
Let's see. Good, pretty much. I had some questions on those appraisals, but other than that. On the appraisals,
About that later when Rich is here, I think. The one that went up significantly on the house. Okay, and everything gets signed.
but they're all asked on the payroll, I just want to.
All these are signed and completed. We have the
Okay,
minutes right
I got
there.
this.
But if that's all that's in front of us, we're done. I'd make a motion to adjourn.
Second,
Hey, moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
aye.
Aye, aye. All right.